Ladies and gentlemen, we are live tonight for another edition of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005, and we are racing here today at the California Speedway for the running of the Pop Secret 500. Under the lights at the California Speedway, now known as the Auto Club Speedway, for the next race of the Nextel Cup Series on the custom schedule season of NASCAR Chase for the Cup 2005. 4 races to go into crowning a champion. No champion will be crowned tonight, as Greg Biffle has no mathematical shot of clinching the title, even if Gordon were to finish dead last and Biffle were to go on to get a max points day, leading the most laps and winning the race. We would still end up having the next race, which would be the Sharpie 500 Bristol Night Race, at some point next week. So no NASCAR 06 coming up this week with doing the Truck Series and the Cup Series live streams, the real race commentary. So look at it next week for NASCAR 06. But we'll see if Greg Biffle can inch his way closer into winning a championship with a good run today. No matter what, he will have the points lead following it, as he has a 304-point lead over Jeff Gordon. 190 points is the most amount of points you can score in a single race if you win the race and, again, lead the most laps. So we'll see what Biffle can do today. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content as we get into tonight's action. Before we get into tonight's race, though, we have some polls and then one more poll throughout the course of the race today. So now it's time to get the display capture on, and I will take a look for the first time since starting the stream at what the polls are going to be for NASCAR 06. Who will be the 2 drivers going to the finals in our voting poll for tonight's stream. So let me get the display capture on so you guys can see it as well. Oh boy, I can't wait. I checked about 45 minutes before the start of the stream when I got done working out today. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go check. I'm going to go check real quick. It's first time. Take a peek. And one of them was super close. The other one was close, but only between a couple guys. But there was one, literally all 4 votes were within like 8%. And I'm curious to see what that one will look like. So let me refresh the page here. The Truck Series polls will be open. Yeah, the 3 Truck Series polls will be open until the end of the stream. So we'll go through those at the end of the stream. But 42 votes. Actually, let me, hang on, see if this refreshes it maybe a little bit better. Yep, it is refreshed still. So 42 votes on both of the Cup Series polls that are now closed. And look at how close this first one is. Tony Stewart, 31% of the votes. John Andretti was second with 29%, almost making it to the final round of our voting poll for the Cup Series on NASCAR 6. Extremely close there. Dale Jarrett at 19% was the lowest on this, and then Kenny Wallace, who actually won in a landslide victory in the first round, made it to the second round. He has 21% of the votes, so it looks like Tony Stewart will be moving on to the finals, and he probably just took a glance at it because I scrolled down a bit too far. Dale Earnhardt Jr. also wins his vote. 43% to Carl Edwards is 29%. Jeff Gordon had 10%. Casey Kane with 14%. And Rusty Wallace in his final season in the Cup Series at 5%. So that means Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Tony Stewart will be in the championship poll in tonight's stream. So let me get that poll pulled up in the chat right now. Let me ask you guys, the viewers. I guess I could take the display capture on. Take the display capture off for right now. So that's what we're looking at. This is unbelievable. So, last but not least, I guess, final Cup poll. It's a final round. Who will I drive as in NASCAR 6? In the Nextel Cup Series. All right. deal. I have a feeling I know who's going to win this pole, but I'd still like to see. And remember, whoever wins this pole, I cannot race as them again. In future NASCAR game playthroughs. So keep that in mind when voting. But final poll is going to be in the chat, and this poll will end at the end of the stream. So again, at the end of the stream, or not at the end of the stream, but at the end of this race, the poll will, well, pretty much, when I go to look at the finishing results at the end of the stream, the poll will be there all night. So take a gander at that throughout the course of today's race. Billy Kramer, Furfur Express, Patrick Shadley, and others, welcome to the stream. Let's get this one kicked off. I'll also take a look at the Truck Series polls at the end of the stream as well to see who will go to the final round there, because there's only going to be 2 rounds in the Truck Series because it's not as long of a list of drivers that I can race as. Now, without further ado, the thing you came here for tonight is to watch some racing. We're going to get... Whoa, I forgot I'm on the pole. Okay. Green flag in the air. Greg Biffle on the pole tonight at the California Speedway, and will lead the field to the green. Jeff Gordon with a great launch, and he might be able to lead lap 1. 3 wide for about 4th on back. Nearly 4 wide off the exit of turn 2 as Stewart really got fanned out there. Derek Booth, welcome to the stream as well. Biffle slides into turn 3, carried a bit too much speed in. Jeff Gordon overdrives the corner as well, and it looks like Ryan Newman is going to lead lap 1 at California. Not Jeff Gordon or Biffle, who started on the front row. Biffle going down to the apron through the tri-oval, trying to get away from Gordon, who was trying to side draft him. Sterling Marlin, who had a good qualifying effort in the top 5, is challenged into the outside of Biffle into turn 1 for 3rd. 3 wide down to the bottom. Tony Stewart's on the inside now. Ryan Newman finished 2nd in the first race at California earlier on this Cup Series season. We'll see what will happen here. That race went caution-free, and it ended up being a fuel mileage race with it going caution-free. So if we do go caution-free again today, look at this potentially being a fuel mileage race, and we saw one of those last night at the Busch Series at the Lowe's Motor Speedway. Stewart trying to block Greg Biffle right now, got tagged. Stacking them both up into turn 1, and that's going to allow Sterling Marlin to take it 3 wide to the inside. Biffle in a tight gap right now. Squeezes by Tony Stewart. Blocks Sterling Marlin to the inside of the back straightaway to make sure he's going to have some clearance into turn 3 in the 3rd place position. But even that didn't work, because Sterling Marlin still gets underneath him into turn 3. Biffle gets the run out of the middle lane off the exit of turn 4. I cannot clinch the championship in the Cup Series tonight. If I could, I would have had the scenarios on the screen like I did for the Busch race last night, but it's not mathematically possible. It's close to being mathematically possible, but not quite. If I had an 8-point lead on Jeff Gordon, it would be possible. Or 8 more point lead than what I have now, it would be possible. Oh, contact between Gordon and Biffle. Both cars going to go wide in turns 3 and 4. Cause a lot of cars to get underneath. Sterling Marlin trying to fend off Dale Jr. for 2nd. 3 wide right now for Biffle with Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace underneath. A massive run going into turn 1 for Biffle, but he gets a little loose. He overdrives the corner, gets up into Gordon again. Gordon out of the groove is going to lose multiple positions. Biffle himself going to lose a couple positions, making contact with Rusty Wallace. Wild race in the early going, and Ryan Newman's really checking out right now. One car's blowing his engine already at the back of the field. Wallace gets by Biffle for 5th. Biffle down to the apron through the tri-oval. Nothing doing there. Casey Kane dive bombs into turn 1 down to the inside now. Biffle's just dropping back pretty heavily right now. Mark Martin was the driver who just blew an engine on lap 6. Would have been lap 5 when he actually blew the engine. Contact between Biffle and Busch. A couple of the Roush teammates getting together in the middle of the tri-oval. It was all Biffle's fault. He was trying to side draft him and he got into him. Tony Stewart looks to the inside. By the way, it is super warm in my room right now. A lot warmer than what it was even yesterday. It got up to 88 degrees in my house today. The sun is baking right now. And it's almost like the central air just does not work in my room. I don't know what's going on, but it is super hot. And I'm already sweating and it's lap 8. This is not good. This is a 500-mile race. This is what I feared. Last night it wasn't bad because it was only a 300-mile Busch race. By the end of it, I was sweating pretty good. I might lose a few pounds in this one. Biffle's going to need to keep full focus on in this race. He's back in traffic right now as Newman is really checked away from the field, but the battle from second on back is absolutely intense right now. Biffle got to get back around his teammate Kurt Busch. Gets to the inside of the 9 car of Casey Kane. Side drafts him off the exit of turn 4. Dale Jr. underneath Dale Jarrett for position. Biffle clears Kane in the middle of the front stretch. And drafting help on the bottom as well, and clears Marlin into turn 1. Dale Jarrett still stuck on the outside. See, Furfur Express is upset about Dale Jarrett not winning the vote. He made it to round 2, but he did not fare well in today's vote. He was actually outvoted by everybody else in his poll today, which would include Kenny Wallace and John Andretti. But Stewart ended up winning that poll. Hence the reason Stewart and Dale Jr. are in that final poll today. Tony Stewart working underneath Dale Jr. side by side for second. It's allowing Greg Biffle to close in on both of them. He's not really drafting with Stewart, giving the 20 car the help on the bottom. Biffle to the inside of Dale Jr. for third. Stewart's all clear for second. Off the exit of turn 4, Biffle pulls clear and blocks to the outside on Dale Jr. for third place. Junior driving it in deep, trying to get back around Biffle through turns 1 and 2. Stewart on the outside, though, on the back straightaway. That's just enough. Biffle to draft off of Stewart. Stewart's going to go wide, though, in turns 3 and 4. Junior's clear off the exit of turn 4. Biffle gets a great cut off the exit of the corner himself. Dive bombs to the inside. And no crossover move was able to be made that time by Biffle. Devil tell Ryan Newman wants redemption from the first California race, finishing a close second to Greg Biffle. Wanted me to drive the UPS truck. I wonder if he'll still drive the UPS truck throughout the season once it gets unlocked. Kind of curious. The AI would still end up doing that. Oh man, Greg Biffle. Not going to be going down to the apron anymore, that's for sure. Again, Biffle qualified on the pole, but he did not lead a lap at the very beginning of this race. Might have to try a little fuel and pit strategy if we get long enough green flag runs in this one. That he has to stay out longer than everybody else to try to get a lap let in. And prevent Jeff Gordon from potentially leading the lap. It's late in the season, every point matters throughout the course of the year, but you look at it more tightly when you get down into the closing races. And again, 4 races to go in the championship right now. Jarrett looks to the inside, contact! Jarrett barely keeps it. No, he is in the wall. I thought he was going to keep it off the wall for a second. He did not. That contact slowed Greg Biffle up quite a bit, and that's going to allow Kurt Busch to get to the inside into turn 3. Biffle lost the momentum, and now lost a spot to Busch. It's back to the inside of Kurt, though, off the exit of turn 4. More contact between Biffle and another car. He could not keep it clean in the early going of this race, and that's not something you want to hear on a fast racetrack like California. And rookie Casey Kane fights to the bottom underneath Greg Biffle. Oscar Ramirez Herrera, welcome to the stream. Contact with Kane. He was trying to side draft him, and then he made contact with him, got clung up on him. Biffle did that with another car earlier as well. He just cannot break away from the pressure right now of cars around him. Such a wide racetrack, and everybody's racing each other so tightly, especially in the middle of the corners. Seth Thomas, welcome to the stream. Hopefully able to cut down in front of Rusty Wallace and just gets to the inside of Kurt Busch. Looked like Busch was going to try to close the door on Biffle in the middle of the corner. Didn't quite happen. Not sure if Biffle cleared him up off the exit of turn 2, though. Not yet. Now he's clear. About middle of the back straightaway, must have cleared him. A lot of Fords right now in the top portion of the field. Dale Jarrett, Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle all battling 4th through 6th, but the top 3 would include 1 Dodge and 2 Chevrolets. Tony Stewart in 2nd, Dale Jr. 3rd, Ryan Newman the race leader. Of course, Dale Jr. Tony Stewart, the 2 drivers in the poll for our NASCAR 06 fan vote. As you see in the poll in the chat, that will be up all night, and that vote will not end until the end of the race. So you still have another 230 laps to vote. If you have not cast your vote, be sure to do so. I don't know, man. I gotta figure out something with the heat. It is getting to me, and it's only lap 21. I think I left my water downstairs too. I'm definitely gonna have to grab that at the first pit stop. I mean, I got everything together for the stream like 9 to 10 minutes before the stream started. So I've only been sitting in this chair for about a half hour, maybe a little less than a half hour right now. And I am cooking. It doesn't help the sun's still out. It'll be down by the end of the race tonight, but that's not going to be until the end of the race by the time the sun goes down at my house. The sundown's right around 8:30. This race is probably going to get done close to 9 o'clock. Biffle has nothing for the top 3 in the early going of this one, though. The car feels fast, but at the same time, it's edgy enough in the corners that he doesn't feel comfortable maybe loosening it up to try and gain a bit more time. But you're going to have to do something for speed purposes. I don't know if you go to that super early or if you wait till the last run to maybe try to loosen it up. But if we have long green flag runs like we did in the first California race earlier in the season, about the midway point through the year, we raced at California in the daytime conditions. A little different here being in the nighttime, and I think that might be what is hurting Greg Biffle and this race car's speed overall. Historic Cinematics, welcome to the stream. Pretty warm here too. I mean, it's 88. It's not like a hot 88 either. It's not that humid outside. It's still a little too early in the year for it to be where I live. Like, it's just really nice outside. Not a lot of wind today, but I think just being in a room upstairs, he's kind of amplifying it more. The sun's just blind. I mean, you can see based off the lighting, the sun is on me. It's not like right in my face. At least not yet. But it is very warm in this room. 5 hours. No, it's not going to be 5 hours. This is a 500-mile race. There's no way I'd be able to sit in this room for 5 hours. There's no way. I mean, it's going to be tough just to go 3 hours, but I'm going to do my best, guys. I'm glad I got my workout in tonight. There's some nights I don't do it till after I stream. I'm so glad I already got it in because I'm not going to have the energy when this race is done to do anything other than go to bed before I go to work tomorrow. I'm going to have to step out of the room for like a half hour, though, too, just before I go to bed, just so because it's so hot in here. I'm not going to be able to sleep in this heat. It's a little different, though, because where my bed's at, once I close the shades, you know, it's not like I'm going to be in the sun when I'm laying down. But I'm in the sun while I'm sitting right now. That's the bad part. But I almost forgot how warm it was, because I think I remember these nights before where it was super hot in the summertime. But I have not had warm weather like at all this year until this week. So it's throwing me off my game. Maybe I'll get used to it throughout the course of the year, but I don't remember it being this hot in my room last year. I have air conditioning. That's the sad part. The side that my room's on, though, is where the sun's just baking all afternoon on. That's probably why my room's like the hottest in the house. $95 to 98. Yeah, it's only 10 degrees cooler, roughly here. 7 to 10 degrees cooler here. But this is Ohio. So I'm not, you know, as used to this weather as you down in Texas. I kid you not, it was a high of, I want to say 45 degrees like 10 days ago. It wasn't consistently breaking 60 degrees until literally like 3 or 4 days ago. I think either Saturday or Sunday it hit 60, and it's been 60 or more every day since, and today it jumped right up. About 10 degrees. Should have wore a cutoff or something just to... I mean, I have shorts and a t-shirt on. Thank goodness I'm not wearing like dress shorts from work or anything right now. Like it would be if I was streaming after work. So glad I have athletic shorts on. Ruin a nice pair of like, khaki shorts or something. Greg Biffle just got around Dale Jr. a couple laps ago for 30s, battling Tony Stewart for the second place position on the racetrack right now. Past halfway through the fuel run to start this race. Again, the first California race in the daytime that was 500 miles went caution-free. It was one of 4 caution-free Cup Series races this season. We'll see if we have a fit today, being back at this same racetrack. And another one of the tracks that went caution-free earlier this year was our day race at Bristol, and we have the Bristol night race coming up next. So kind of coincidental, those are back-to-back races later in the season. Biffle is outrunning Jeff Gordon right now, but neither Biffle or Gordon has led a lap, and both cars started on the front row. Ryan Newman, who qualified in 3rd, was able to lead lap 1 and has led every lap since. Full tank of fuel can last about 50. Yeah, exactly. If we go 50 laps, each run will make it. It was a fuel mileage race when we went caution-free here earlier this season. Biffle was able to make it to the end, and so was Ryan Newman. They battled it out for the checkered flag, and Biffle got the victory. Newman has not won yet this season. That was definitely one of the closest, if not the closest, he has been to victory lane this year. He's had a couple top fives outside of that, but that runner-up right behind Biffle at the start-finish line within a couple tenths of a second. It's definitely a good battle at the finish, but Newman leading these laps right now. He wants that first win of the year, and he knows he's running out of time with just 4 races to go. And we might not even get to all of those races. I will simulate the last couple races of the season whenever we clinch the championship early, if we do clinch it early, in both the Busch and the Cup Series. 2 races to go right now in the Busch Series. Still haven't clinched it. We'll have 3 races to go after tonight, and the title cannot be clinched in the Cup side. California 85. So it is literally warmer at my house in California right now. And that's odd. That is very odd. It's not like this. I'm definitely grabbing a water. I'm upset I didn't grab my water to begin with. You see me wipe my head, it's because I'm wiping the sweat off my forehead. That's why I'm touching my head so much. It's bothering me because it's like on my eyebrow and I can feel like it's about to like run into my eye, and I don't want that. I don't want to risk wrecking. Glad there's long enough straightaways at this racetrack I can kind of do that. I can't clinch the title tonight. It's not possible. If I were to clinch the title tonight, I would have need 160, what was it, 164 more points ahead of what I am now going in, and you can only outpoint somebody by as many as 156. It was literally only 8 points difference in me being able to clinch the title tonight over Gordon and Knob, but that would have been if Gordon would have finished last and we would lead the most laps and win. And right now, Biffle hasn't even led a single lap yet, so it's going to be tough even to lead the most with Newman leading a lot in the early going and definitely looking like the fastest car in the field right now. Greg Biffle's been unable to pass the 20 of Tony Stewart. It really pulled away from Dale Jr. It seems like Jr.'s car was good on the short run, but he's faded as this run is carried longer and longer to start this race. Stewart going to go a bit wide in turns 3 and 4. That might be the opportunity for Biffle that he needs to get underneath Stewart. He is there side by side for second place off turn 4. About 15 laps away from our first stop of the night. Stewart pinches Biffle in turns 1 and 2. And Biffle's clear off the exit of turn 2. Biffle a little loose getting off into turn 3. Trying to make sure he at least blocks the bottom. Stewart tried to go to the outside, about got into the right rear quarter panel of Greg Biffle. And as they battle for second, it looks like they've lost 2 to almost 3/10 of a second more to Ryan Newman. Biffle was about 3 seconds off. He's gained a couple tenths over the course of the run, but not much. He's got a lot of clean air in front of him right now. He did overdrive turns 1 and 2 a bit, though, that time, and Stewart wasn't able to get underneath. He's still a little too far back now. Newman pulled away a bit more, though, from Biffle in that last corner, even though Biffle and Stewart stayed with each other. Nobody seemed to really be slower or faster through that last corner between the two of them. Biffle's definitely got a lot more straightaway speed running that middle lane through 3 and 4 again, and pulls Stewart. He's trying to make sure Stewart's not going to draft him down these long straightaways, because if he can stay in the draft, that's what makes this track so hard to pull away from somebody, but it's just so hard to pass because of how much of a one-groove racetrack it is for the most part, especially in this era at the California Speedway in 2004. Not like it is now. And it is the same surface. Stewart rolls the bottom pretty well through 3 and 4. A lot wider entry that time for Biffle. Chopped down to the middle of the corner. Holds Stewart behind him. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the first time in the race today. And we've got our first bot in the chat, of course. Of course. Well, that's not what we need. Oh my gosh. Oh, that messed me up. I had to pause it to get rid of the bot, and I messed up turn 1 because of it. And that's going to allow Tony Stewart to take over second. I blame the bot showing up for... Stupid bot. So hard to pass at California, too. It's going to be tough for Biffle just to get back around Tony Stewart. He's all over the back bumper of the 20 car right now, and you can see the Granger Ford working back and forth on Stewart. Real big dive bomb into turn 1. Has to let up quite a bit into turn 1 to make the corner as he drove all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. This is a real testament to a 500-mile race today, though. We are racing in harsh conditions, both on and off the virtual racetrack. Sir Chester deleted phone tested, holy water needed. Oh, jeez. It's inconsistent. We didn't have any bots last night. That phone tested, phone yeeted. Biffle closes back on Stewart again. Both the right side tires wearing out on Greg Biffle's race car. Biffle's going to have to hope for a quick pit stop to try and gain some time on Ryan Newman. I don't know what it's going to take to beat that 12 car today, but we'll see. Stewart and Biffle, though, battling for second. They've lost a lot of time. They were about 2.7 seconds off the lead at one point. Side by side for second off turn 4 between Biffle and Stewart this time. Biffle on the inside, Tony Stewart on the outside. Biffle really deep into turn 1. Stewart on the high side nearly clears Biffle, but not quite. Biffle side drafts the left rear quarter panel of Stewart going off into turn 1, trying to hold him. Still side by side. William Windex, welcome to the stream. Biffle slots in line right behind. Or Stewart slots in line right behind Biffle in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Biffle is clear. And somebody's working right now to make a pass on Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well. I can't tell who that is. It looks like it may be Jimmy Johnson. I'm not entirely sure. But short run, long run, it doesn't matter. Ryan Newman is the guy to beat tonight at the California Speedway. He is light years ahead of everybody else. It's pretty even between Stewart Biffle on the long run, and then on the short run, it seems like Biffle's got about a 4th place car. As Dale Jr. took off really well initially on that start, got to second, Stewart got around him, and then Biffle got around him, and now he's in danger of losing another spot too. Again, it looks like Jimmy Johnson back there. All 4 tires in the yellow right now for Biffle as well. He's 3.7 seconds off the race lead from Newman. I feel your pain, Fur Express. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you casted your vote while you were here. Looks like Dale Jr. is leading at 82% right now. It is a landslide for the moment, but we have a long race to go. We'll see if the voting polls will get closer between who I will race as in the Cup Series and NASCAR 06 for the fan-voted season. There are also votes in the Truck Series polls on the community tab that if you have not voted yet, those polls will not close until the end of this race tonight as well. Then the finals for the Truck Series poll will be tomorrow. And then the Busch Series polls will also start tomorrow on the channel for NASCAR 05. I think what we're going to end up doing is during tomorrow night's stream is where we'll have the next Truck Series poll, which will be the championship poll. Just like, or the final round poll, I guess, for that, like we have with the Cup Series today. And then the Busch Series will have its first round tomorrow. It looks like most of you guys have picked Junior. We're at lap 47 right now. We are seating some drivers pitting for the first time. And Ryan Newman may be pitting this time by. He is, so is Tony Stewart. Biffle's going to stay out, so that way he can make it an extra lap to lead his first lap of the race. That's 5 bonus points for Greg Biffle. So Ryan Newman led the first 46 laps of the race until he ended up hitting pit road before Biffle, who was running in second at the time of green flag pit stop starting. And now Biffle leads. He was 3.7 seconds behind Newman before Newman pit. Looks like Dale Jr. might have pit that last lap as well. So we'll see. Biffle's got about a 1 second lead right now. As many laps as he could go, the better. Mikey, welcome to the stream. 5 points is crucial. He's going to continue to stay out of the pits just in case Jeff Gordon has not made a stop yet wherever he's at in the running order right now. We know he wasn't in the top 5 at least before green flag pit stop started after qualifying second. He wants to make sure he doesn't lead a lap, kind of playing a similar strategy to what he did in the Busch race last night at Lowe's Motor Speedway, trying to keep Ron Hornaday from leading any laps. Try to grow that championship lead out even more on that side of things as well. And it worked out because Biffle was still able to get the win at the end of the race. He led the most laps and Hornaday didn't lead a lap. Hornaday did finish 5th, getting a good points day still. We're at lap 50, and that's another reason why Biffle wants to stay out, is in case this race goes caution-free, because our first California race of the Cup Series season went caution-free. So again, who's to say this second one may go caution-free as well? Biffle staying out one more lap. He'll go to lap 51 just to be safe. Safe at least for later in the race, but it's definitely risking it right now on fuel. Maybe get our first caution of the season in any race at California for the Cup Series. Biffle definitely is going to pit this time by. And I am going to go get that water because I need it desperately. And it will probably be gone by the time I make it back upstairs, but I need to get some water regardless. 4 tires and fuel for Greg Biffle this time. Has to make sure he doesn't speed. Didn't even have to lock the tires up at all. Easily will get down. 4 tires and fuel for Greg Biffle. Going to put an air pressure adjustment into the race car right now. Going to add a pound of air pressure, so that will be the only adjustment for the 16 car under the first stop of the day. He also led that lap by, so 4 laps led right now for Greg Biffle in the race. Ryan Newman has led every other lap since. And we'll see how many more drivers may be able to go even past lap 51 to potentially lead laps of their own, like potentially Jeff Gordon if he has not made a stop yet. And it doesn't look like any mistakes for Greg Biffle. He'll pull off of pit road. Dale Jr. with a pretty quick stop under green flag conditions. I'm going to pause it and go get a water. Now would be like the absolute perfect time to do the ice bucket challenge, or take a nice ice bath or something. As soon as I stepped outside, I was like, man, it is 10 times cooler out here. Felt nice for the 5 seconds it took me to walk down the stairs to grab my water I left on the banister. Alright, so clean pit stop for Greg Biffle. Dale Jr. seemed to really have a fast stop under caution. Jimmy Johnson's going to cycle ahead of Greg Biffle as well. Biffle trying to get up to speed down on the bottom of the racetrack right now. And as he works his way up, he's going to have some traffic to his outside into turn 3. Biffle holding the bottom right now. His teammate Matt Kenseth gets around for 4th place, and Biffle will be in 5th place when he cycles off of pit road, right behind his teammate Kenseth. And right now he is slotted in about 7.3 seconds off the lead for Newman, who pitted 4 laps before him, and made that 3.7 second lead out to now a 7.3 second lead. So fast stop for Newman, a clean one. And he has a gigantic lead again in this race. Elliott is crazy. Cars One Boy, welcome to the stream as well. Couple votes for Tony Stewart, I see. It was at 82% when I walked outside. Now it's at 73%. We're getting a little bit closer. Not sure how many votes have been casted yet. I'll take a deeper dive at that around the halfway point. I'm only able to actually see Dale Jr.'s poll right now. And I can't see how many votes have been casted so far. Not used to pausing it. I don't like pausing it myself, especially on the live streams, especially with giving real race commentary, because they wouldn't actually pause the race. But I desperately needed to get a water, and it is 88 degrees in this room. Well, outside it's probably, I don't know if it's warmer in here or cooler than what it is outside. You would think it'd be warmer with no air conditioning, but there is air conditioning, but it doesn't feel like it. It's probably a bit cooler. It's probably, I would not be surprised if it's 80 degrees in this room right now. Apple juice break. Apple juice is pretty good. I haven't had some in a while. Actually, I think I had some when I was at the hotel I stayed at Dirt Bristol. Because the water machine was broken. So I just had apple juice for breakfast with the free continental breakfast one morning. So we've just cycled through green flag pit stops for the first time in this race today. Again, Ryan Newman has dominated this race so far. Biffle has only led 4 laps, and it was during green flag pit stops for staying out longer than anybody else on the racetrack. That has cost him a few positions, cycling him back to 5th place in the running order. He hasn't been able to get around Kenseth since cycling off of pit road. He's got a drafting partner to work with right now, but only really helps in the straightaways, because then he's in the dirty air in the corners as he runs in line behind him in a fight for the bottom lane. Biffle just gets to the inside of Kenseth. Off of turn 4, side by side, between the 17 and the 16. Ooh, a little contact with Kenseth. In the middle of turns 1 and 2, Kenseth was trying to hold his teammate tightly, and that costed them to get together a little bit. Race does go caution-free again. I think Newman's got the race secured. He is going to be tough to beat without a yellow. Any adjustments, really. He's just so fast. Even if we get around him on the restart, I don't know if they can hold him back. Obviously, it's so hard to pass, though, at California. It's easy to stay with him if he could stay in the draft, which is another reason a caution would definitely help. Bunch the field together, and there's going to be a lot of drafting help. turn on the fan. I've thought about it, but I don't want to. I'm trying to go without doing it because it's pretty noisy. And it will easily get picked up on the mic because it likes to rattle around a lot. It's a really old stand fan. I have to turn it off in the middle of the night even if it gets warmer while I'm sleeping just because it's so noisy. It keeps me awake. So let alone when I'm streaming, it's going to get picked up on the mic pretty easily. Johnson currently in third. Biffle closing in on JJ. It's Johnson's home track where he got his first career win in his rookie season in 2002. Remember, Greg Biffle did make an air pressure adjustment, and the 16 team did. Going to make the car just a bit looser. At least on the short run, it's handling pretty well. Car was fast, but it's not fast enough to win the race from the way it started, so you're going to have to adjust it some way, shape, or form. You don't want to wait to the end in case you put a bad adjustment into it. I'm not sure where Tony Stewart cycled off of pit road, but he had lost a lot of positions. He was in third place when the green flag pit stop started. Actually, now I think about it, he's probably in second. No, Dale Jr.'s in second. Never mind. Johnson third, Newman in the lead. I don't know where Tony Stewart is. Kensington fifth. Definitely a slow stop for the 20 team. Nathan Elliott, welcome to the stream. Like the poll pick Dale Jr. Yep, those are the final two from today's second round of the polls for Cup Series of NASCAR 06. Tony Stewart made the final poll by just 2% over John Andretti. It was very close. 10% over Kenny Wallace and then 12% over Dale Jarrett. Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle side by side. Look at Johnson trying to pinch Greg Biffle off the exit of turn 2. Biffle luckily was able to hold clear. Jr. going a bit wide into turns 1 and 2. Johnson and Biffle hold the bottom lane, hugging the white line in the middle of the corner. Big run right now on the front stretch for Biffle behind Jr. for second place. 3 cars under a blanket for second as Newman is pulled away and is about to get into lap traffic for the first time tonight. You get Jr. with a big block on Biffle off turn 2. Oh, Junior just stuffed the 16 in the wall. It's going to cost the 8 car more than the 16, though. Here comes Jimmy Johnson to get around Dale Jr. for third. Kenseth to the outside of Jr. for fourth. Jr. will be able to hold the 17 car back. Biffle to second. It's going to widen Newman's lead out a little bit more now, over 5.5 seconds ahead of the field. Biffle blocking Johnson as he gets the momentum back up again. Let's see if he can pull the 48. Big block by Junior off turn 2 to the bottom. Then Biffle still had the run, went high. Junior blocked again and made another mistake. He made a bad block late in the Busch race last night with about 23 or so laps to go, battling for the lead with Greg Biffle as well. Still able to get back into it and get a second place finish. 2 nights in a row, though, he's thrown a bad block on Greg Biffle in 2 different series on this game. One while battling for the lead, and this one while battling for second. Junior mathematically has a shot at the championship still coming into this race, third in points as well, but he could be eliminated from championship contention today if Greg Biffle finishes 13th or better, which is highly likely that will end up happening, at least the way things are running right now. And again, considering Biffle did win at this racetrack, not only in real life in 2004, but also earlier this season on our custom schedule season as well. Biffle looking for a 17th Cup win of the year tonight. Yeah, the temperature in my house, at least according to the thermostat, which is downstairs, is going to be a little cooler than what it is in my room. It has to be. I think my sister mentioned something about it. It was either last night or it was either last night when I got done streaming. I had my door open to get more air in or something, and she like came in and she told me something or whatever, and she was like, "It's really hot in here." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. I don't know why my room's so much hotter than the rest of the house." It's because I'm in here. That's why it's. There's got to be one reason. It's because I'm in here all the time. It's got to be one of the most hypocritical things I think I've ever said on the live streams. $14.1? What, mile racetrack? 160 turns. Biffle's gained a little bit of time on Newman. He's definitely pulled Jimmy Johnson a little bit as well over this longer green flag run. Just not worth short pitting right now if this race goes caution free. If you short pit, the hope is that we do get a caution at some point and you just try to gain chunks of time on Newman on fresh tires and hope you can cycle out ahead of him, and then just try to hold him back leading up to the caution for everybody else to pit again. That would be the idea if Biffle were to short pit, but he doesn't plan on doing it, at least right now. And at 5 seconds back, he'd have to short pit quite a bit, considering that there isn't a lot of tire fall off at this racetrack. There's a little bit, but surface is not old by any means in the 2004 season, especially with the night race having cooler track temperatures and cooler ambient temperatures. It's not going to be as slick as the day race as well, adding a bit more grip for these race cars and race drivers today. Zane Noble, welcome to the stream. We've had over 20 people watching for most of this race so far. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Be sure to vote on not only tonight's poll in the chat for who you want me to race as in the Cup Series in NASCAR 06. That's the final vote. Those are the two drivers who have received the most fan votes in the polls both yesterday, the day before, actually the last 3 days. I think we started on Tuesday, so over a 3-day stretch of polls for the Cup Series on who I will drive as in NASCAR 6. That is the final one, and at the end of tonight's race, that will lock in, and that will be the drive I'll race in the Cup Series. And we did start the Truck Series polls in the chat earlier today. The final round for that will be tomorrow. There are 3 polls currently you can vote on in the community tab that will also close at the end of this race tonight. And then the championship for that will be, or the final round for the Truck Series polls will be during tomorrow night's stream of the NASCAR Busch Series race at Las Vegas on NASCAR 05. So kind of like we're doing tonight with the Cup stream. We'll do that tomorrow night with that stream. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard start time for tomorrow night's stream at Las Vegas on NASCAR 05. Called in for a meeting. Haven't missed much. Got through our first pit stops of the race. Still caution free, and Newman has about a 4.3 second lead right now. Biffle's slowly closing made an air pressure adjustment during the first stop of the day. He had 21 PSI in it to start the run, to start the race, and then after the first stop jumped it up to 22 pounds per square inch, so just a bit to try and free the car up a little bit. He already felt kind of edgy in the corner, so he was a little hesitant trying to make major adjustments to this thing early on, so got to make gradual adjustments, and honestly right now it seems to be a bit quicker than Newman. Newman's picker had a really good pit stop though too. And Biffle didn't have a bad stop either. It lost some time. Newman obviously pitted about 4 laps before Biffle, which helped gap him as well ahead of the 16. But Newman's also dealing with lap traffic right now as well at the back of the pack, so that has to be costing him a little bit of time also. Biffle hasn't caught any lap cars yet. So we also have to factor that in for one of the reasons Biffle is maybe running down Ryan Newman. Biffle was able to stay out longer though, like I mentioned, so he was able to get 5 bonus points. He has led 4 laps today. But it's going to be tough to dethrone Newman in the most laps led category, considering that Newman has literally led 72 of the 76 laps so far. And that race for 125 laps led between him and Biffle right now, because they're the only 2 to lead laps in the race so far. We've had 1 lead change at the start, considering that Newman did not start on the pole in this race. Biffle actually qualified on the pole. Newman has led the majority of the laps, and Gordon, who started outside of the front row and had that great launch initially on the restart, did not lead a lap. Biffle went 51 laps to start the race on fuel, so that's about as far as he can go, which means he'll be pitting around lap 102 for his next stop. I should have weighed myself before the start of the stream and then weighed myself at the end of it. I might be exaggerating a little bit when I say I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. I would not be surprised if I lose like 2 or 3 pounds though. I have to clean this chair off when I'm done too. It's going to be disgusting. See the first lap car Biffle's about to catch in this race tonight. It's closing in. Also remember, Mark Martin had an engine failure just on lap 5 in today's race. It's the only driver out of the race with an engine failure so far. I say that because it is one of the Roush Fenway Fords. And this is a racetrack that takes a large toll on the engines with the high rated speeds. See 199 miles an hour into turn 1 that time for Greg Biffle. And the fact that it's a 500-mile race on top of it with these large speeds, you're asking a lot of these engines, like I mentioned. And I'm sure we're going to have a lot more engine failures before the end of the race. That just so happens to be the only one in the first 81 laps. And again, it was only on lap 5. I think it was never going to make it to the end of the race. Hate to see an engine failure that early in the going. Greg Biffle on the inside of the 145 car into turn 1. Couldn't clear him at all off turn 4. But he'll clear him in the middle of turns 1 and 2 this time. Mark Martin again, yeah. It's not as bad as Elliott Sadler last season. Kevin Harvick had a stretch a few races middle of the year. He was having those issues too, and I think Martin's kind of at that stretch right now where he's DNF'd a few times late in the season. He was already out of the championship contention anyway. Still winless on the year as well, looking for that first win. He's only scored a handful of top 10s. This hasn't been a great year for Martin in general so far. "19 laps away from pit stop number 2 of 4 for Greg Biffle. See, with Newman pitting at lap 47, though, I don't know if he can actually make it on 4 stops like he did in the first race here earlier this season. Him maybe running a faster race pace, he's not able to take the fuel as far into the run. So in that aspect, I mean, Biffle is definitely leading of the cars that made it at least 50 laps during the first fuel run, as he sits in second. And Jimmy Johnson in third, pitted about a lap after Newman, on lap 48. Dale Jr. pitted the same lap as Biffle at lap 51. So he is looking pretty good on fuel right now. He's also in the top 5. Leads just under 2.5 seconds. A couple more lap cars. Biffle's probably going to end up catching the next lap. The 171 car, I believe the 123 of Charlie Davis as well. They're side by side in turns 3 and 4 right now. Holding each other up and slowing each other up a bit. I think going into 3 on the next lap, Biffle's going to have a shot to get around him. Davis going to cross over the 171 car into turn 3. Slides a little bit wide, opening the gap up for Greg Biffle in the middle of turns 3 and 4 to make the pass on both the lappers cleanly that time. Biffle just less than 2 seconds off the lead now. He seems to be getting through the lap traffic quicker than Ryan Newman. The car's hanging on pretty well in the long run so far as well for the Biff, making that air pressure adjustment. Not light years better than what it was, but it is, in the speed department at least, but it is definitely better. And it's a step in the right direction to potentially contend for the win with Ryan Newman today. Hamilton in the 122 car up on the outside. Biff will pull clear and make a clean pass on him. Drafts behind Scott Wimmer in the 22 car on the back straightaway. Wimmer stays wide into turn 3, and he'll let Greg Biffle go next. 2 more lap cars right now between the top 2 yet, as well as a 1.3 second differential. Quarter tank of fuel left for Biffle again. He can go to lap 102. Newman's probably only going to be able to go between laps 94 and 97 on fuel. If I had to guess. 98 if he goes 51 laps like Biffle did on the last run. I doubt he'll go that far. Biffle's closed the gap. I don't think Biffle's going to be able to get to Newman, though, at all before Ryan ends up hitting pit road. So it might allow Newman to gap Biffle again. Biffle needs to keep going further in case he can make it on fuel. Obviously, again, on a 4-stop race, if it does stay green, and we have another caution-free race this season. Again, it would be our 5th of the year if it does, and both California races would go caution-free, which is insane, because that would be 1,000 miles of racing at California on this season, and no cautions in those races for the Cup Series side. That'd be just wild. Any racetrack. It does get pretty spaced apart here on the longer runs, and after pit stops especially, breaks apart the drafting these guys and teams are able to do on the short runs, at least, to keep up with other cars. Especially when everything gets tightly bunched together on the restarts and we see them really fan out as well. If I remember right, I think the average speed was about 184 miles an hour in the first race as well. So who knows, maybe the average speed will be up in this race as well. If it goes caution-free, maybe we have a shot at breaking the all-time record. Lap 94 at the line this time. Newman could realistically pit anywhere from now to likely lap 98. Both right side tires in the yellow now for Biffle during the second fuel and tire stint of the race. As he works to the inside of the lap car of Greg Hicks in the 107 that Newman just got around the last lap. Couldn't clear him off turn 2, but he will clear him down the back straightaway. Stays in front of Hicks. We do have some drivers hitting pit road this lap at lap 95. Malachi Coate, welcome to the stream. A couple of lap cars in front of Newman pitted that time, and Newman might have checked up off the exit of turn 4 to get to the outside of him in the middle of the corner. And that definitely seemed to have held him up just a bit. Biffle closes quite a bit on Newman. Now the left front tire is going away on the 16 of Biffle. Biffle has really closed this gap. Again, he was 7.3 seconds off the lead. It looks like Newman's going to pit this time by at lap 96. So Biffle closes in within a few tenths of a second. Not able to actually take the lead from him, but Newman short pits this time off turn 4. Still an eighth of a tank of fuel left for Biffle. So he's going to continue to stretch this run out again to lap 102. Biffle will take over his second lead of the race during green flag pit stops, and maybe we get a caution for the first time today in green flag pit stops, and Biffle could trap a lot of the field a lap down as well. There's Ryan Newman. He'll go a lap down in turns 1 and 2. Yeah, caution now would be huge. Now Newman would be in the free pass position for the time being. But even still, definitely get Biffle much needed track position and actually keep it. Newman our fresher tires and Biffle for a little bit longer period of time this go around before Biffle ends up hitting pit road in a few more laps. Lap 99 now. Lap 100 now. 16th of a tank of fuel left for Greg Biffle as he's running on fumes. Again, he'll try to go 2 more laps. Pit at lap 102. Biffle's crew is definitely going to need another quick stop this time. I don't think Biffle's going to make any adjustments during the second stop of the day like he did the first stop, making the air pressure adjustment. Biffle has about 8.3 seconds right now over the car behind him currently, who is also still out on the racetrack. Might be Dale Jr. because Jr. did stay out quite a ways last time. Jeff Gordon still has not led a lap yet. Again, he comes in 304 points behind Biffle into this race today. Biffle will stay out this time by, and then he'll pit the following time by. Definitely tell Newman's closed the gap out of the rearview mirror. He's not going to be able to actually get to Biffle before Biffle pits. And I get to take my next drink of water coming up in another probably 30 seconds or so that's nice for me. 4 tires and fuel coming up for Greg Biffle. Has to make sure he does not speed again. He's trying to carry a lot of speed onto pit road, locks the tires up this time, and gets down perfectly. That was a risky move. But again, no adjustments for the 16, trying to gain as much time onto pit road as possible. Drinking as much water as I can now. Out and away, a clean stop that time for Biffle in the 16. Kevin Harvick stayed out to lead his first lap of the race. 5 bonus points for the 29 car. And Newman will cycle back into the lead after pitting about 6 laps, maybe 5 laps before Biffle that time. And Biffle's lap total now up to 9 laps led. Newman definitely going to cycle out in front of him. Biffle going to try to run him down, but he was 7.3 seconds off the lead to start that last run and got to within 0.3 of a second before Newman pit. And it looks like right now he is about 1.2 seconds behind Ryan Newman this time. So lost about 0.9 of a second, staying out a little bit longer. Biffle definitely got onto pit road carrying as much speed as possible. He definitely sent it versus very cautious the first time into the pits. But he figured, well, I'm going to change tires anyway, so might as well use them up trying to get to pit road. Wasn't worried about flat spotting them. 1 lap car between the top 2 cycling off of the pit lane. That would be Kyle Petty in the 45 car for Petty Enterprise. Petty, the first car, 1 lap down. 2 more pit stops left the rest of this race. Again, still caution free, 20 laps shy of halfway. Be sure to vote in the poll in the chat right now for who you want me to race as a NASCAR 06. That is the final poll for the Cup Series on the NASCAR 06 side of things. And it's down between Tony Stewart, the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing in a Chevrolet, and then the DEI number 8 Chevrolet of Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think I only have 2 paint schemes between the 2 of those drivers to pick from, so you'll probably see me run half the season with one and half with the other. Ryan Newman running a middle groove through 3 and 4 this time. Greg Biffle runs the bottom, hooks that white line. So close to being within drafting range of Newman through the tri-oval, but not quite close enough. Look at the speedometer on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, 199 miles an hour into turn 1 that last time. Biffle wants to catch Newman at about the time Newman catches the next lap car, ideally. Newman going to the bottom, trying to break the draft. The 60 does not follow him. He's trying to stay in line. So he can arc his corner off. That definitely caused Newman to run a lot higher through turns 3 and 4, diving it off as low as he did on corner entry. And there goes Greg Biffle to the inside of Newman because of it. Side by side for the lead into turn 1. Ray Parker in the 141's the lap car on the outside. 3 wide now for the lead with the leaders as they race 2 by 2 underneath them. And Greg Biffle will come out with the race lead off of turn 2. Has finally ran Ryan Newman down on actual race pace. It took 108 laps to do so after starting on the pole. But Biffle leads. He has the track position now on Newman. And it's going to be hard for Newman to get back around him for the time being. That was big for Greg Biffle to make the pass when he did. He still has a shot to lead the most laps today. Ryan Newman's led 98 laps so far, though, so Biffle's going to have to lead quite a bit yet. Now we'll see how he can get through the lap traffic as the leader, because it's always harder for the leader, because they're trying to fight to stay in the lead lap. Once they go a lap down, they're probably going to end up, maybe surrendering their track position a lot better to the cars running behind the race lead. And honestly, once Robbie Gordon in the 31 car goes a lap down here, as he's going to give a lot of room to the bottom for Biffle, it looks like. So Robbie Gordon will be in the free pass position before long. But a lot of clean air in front of the 16 and the 12. That's going to make it harder for Ryan Newman to make the pass on Greg Biffle. Definitely caught the lap car at a perfect time as Biffle was catching Newman at that right time. He was able to make that pass for the lead. Biffle and Newman going to get around Robbie Gordon through turns 1 and 2. It's like Newman's still side by side with him. Couldn't clear him off the exit of turn 2. Costed Newman a little bit of time. Where's my Chastain merch? I don't have any. Welcome to the stream, though, Ethan. Oh my gosh. Somebody dropped like a plate or something downstairs. I think I heard something break. Reagan Fans 6, welcome to the stream as well. Biffle's definitely pulling away from Ryan Newman. Also, Newman not even able to stay in the draft of Greg Biffle. Biffle, the clean air, is taking off. What a call on the adjustment during that very first stop of the day at lap 51. They put a pound of air pressure into the car. The car was fast, but it wasn't fast enough compared to Ryan Newman, who really pulled away at the start of the race. And now Greg Biffle seems to be the fastest car on the racetrack since that has happened, and now since Biffle has taken the lead about 4 laps ago. But he's going to have to lead a lot of laps, so consecutively, especially if he's going to want a shot to lead the most on Ryan Newman today. Harvick led 1 lap, maybe 2 during green flag pit stops. Biffle's led 9 laps today, and Newman's led the rest. Nearly 100 laps led for Ryan Newman so far. Trying to get to within drafting range if at all possible. So he can at least keep up with the 16 of Biffle, not just let Biffle walk away with the lead. We'll be halfway in about another 12 laps. Caution is out for the first time today at lap 114. This race will not go caution-free like the first California race of the season. Very interesting. Car in the wall in turns 1 and 2. Backs it down the racetrack and out of harm's way. It looks like Tony Stewart has wrecked. And it is Tony Stewart. So Stewart has wrecked while running in the top 5. Spins down into the grass in turns 3 and 4 after getting into the right side of his race car into the wall pretty tough. Greg Biffle's going to stay on the racetrack. He's going to keep this track position right now. It is very important. And I'm not sure if anybody pitted behind him. It doesn't sound like anybody pit behind him. And here we go. Green flag back in the air. It's going to be Biffle restarting in the lead. Taking the charge on the restart. Quickly gets ahead of the lap car of Ray Parker. That was very vital for Greg Biffle to get in front of him so he could have this clean air through turns 1 and 2 on the restart. Ryan Newman gets down to the bottom pretty quickly as well. He's 3 wide underneath Ray Parker and Kyle Petty, who battle for the free pass position off the exit of the corner. And I think because of the caution, Robbie Gordon had gotten the free pass in the 31 singular wireless Chevrolet for Richard Childress Racing, so he's back on the lead lap following the caution. Suggest 2 in the Busch, so you want me to race as Clint Boyer in the Busch Series? 29 in the Cup, so that'd be Harvick. Unfortunately, Harvick did not win any of the votes for the Cup side, but you can definitely cast your votes for the Truck Series if you have not already. Again, those 3 polls will end at the end of tonight's race, so we'll take the look at those polls as well as, of course, our main poll for the Cup Series, which is in the chat right now during this live stream that we will also check. That will be solidified, and then we'll have the final 3 for the Truck Series poll that will be during the course of tomorrow's live stream, like the Cup final poll is tonight. And we'll start the Busch Series polls on the channel tomorrow afternoon, so be on the lookout for that in the community tab as well. Getting closer to NASCAR 06 coming up on the channel. Wrapping up, likely the last Busch Series race on the channel for NASCAR 05 tomorrow night at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Greg Biffle has a really good shot to clinch the championship. 1 race early because we have 2 races to go in the season. Season finale is at California if we do have to run the final race of the year and decide the champion in the final race. But as of right now, Greg Biffle just has to finish 36th or better tomorrow night at Las Vegas to win the championship. So it's looking very good for him. 43 car field, so again, it's not impossible. But if the 2-car Ron Hornaday wins the race and leads the most laps, 36th or better is where Biffle's going to have to finish if he doesn't lead any laps. If he leads 1 lap at the very beginning of the race, then it would end up being 38th or better. Leads the most, it would be 40th or better. Obviously, depending on if the 2-car leads any laps as well. That could shift the other way also. But pretty plain and simple, though. 36 or better tomorrow night for Biffle, and he'll win the title no matter where the 2 of Hornaday finishes. Hornaday kept his championship hopes alive last night with a 5th place run at Charlotte. That was a restart Newman needed. He was losing touch from Greg Biffle. Now he's in the draft, and he's close enough behind him again. It's a 2-car breakaway at the front of the field for right now. Didn't get the word from the crew chief that anybody pitted. Of course, we weren't that far removed from the second stop of the race. That was probably why nobody hit pit road during the caution flag. But the field bunched together right now. We know how crazy the restarts could be at the California Speedway. One car is blowing up in turns 1 and 2 with an engine failure. In Alabama, all of men's exes live in the same house. Welcome to the stream. I think I know where you were going with that. You look at it a couple different ways, and it's funny in both ways. Yeah, that would have been huge points for Willie Byron this last weekend. So Robbie Gordon has blown an engine. Gordon got the free pass during the last caution, but obviously it didn't last long as he blows an engine within the first 5 laps after the restart. So it sounds like Scott Riggs blew an engine at some point in this race. He's coming back on the racetrack. He's going to be well off the pace and down a cylinder. Of course, Riggs is running for the Rookie of the Year honors. Right now, Casey Kane's the only driver that is a rookie in the top 10 in points. But if Kane does DNF a few races to finish out this year, maybe Riggs still has a shot at the Rookie of the Year honor. So he's going to come back out and try to get all the points he can. That name. He's got a new one literally every night. Very rarely he comes in with the same name from the night before. He's always thinking of something different. Riggs, you can see, is out on the racetrack. He's the only car by himself. So he did not merge out in traffic, which is good. He waited, able to get back on the racetrack when nobody was around him. We'll see if that caution lap 114 is going to end up being the only one in tonight's race. We are officially halfway home, so that means we are going to have a trivia question again tonight on the channel. This question has to do with how the NASCAR 05 Busch and Cup Series season has gone for our driver Greg Biffle, so that is what this trivia question will be. How many wins does our driver Greg Biffle have in both the Busch and the Cup Series season combined on our custom schedule seasons? So again, how many wins does our driver Greg Biffle have on both the Busch and the Busch and the Cup Series custom schedule seasons combined? That is the trivia question tonight. Quite a few of them. You're going to have to do some math as well to combine them, and I'll give you guys the answer to that question at lap 135 tonight. And as far as if I see it answered correctly in the chat, I will not specify if it is answered correctly or not. So go with your guess, and we'll see who gets it. Billy Kramer says 24. 21 from Brian Rodriguez. Welcome to the stream. 13 Cup, 14 Busch. Okay. So you say 27 total from Fur Express. No hints tonight as well for the trivia question. We'll see if somebody can get it. You can always second guess your answer before it ends up getting locked in, but see if anybody can get it. 17 Busch, 14 in Cup. Be what, 31 total? Fur Express says 19. New Joji, welcome to the stream. He says 69. That is not right. I get it. It's Greg Biffle. That number is synonymous with him, but that is not the correct answer. That one I will definitely state. I do not have that many. I don't even think that's even possible. There isn't even enough races in a season in both series for me to get that. Actually, no, never mind. That means I'd have to win literally. No, there isn't. There's only, oh boy, Riggs going up to the middle. Biffle went to the outside to get around him. And it looks like Newman got caught behind Riggs off the exit of turn 2. And Biffle, despite having to go to the outside, still gaps Newman by about 0.4 of a second on the back straightaway. And Newman now no longer in drafting range behind Biffle into turns 3 and 4. Ryan Rodriguez has 23 wins. So you have 5 more laps to try and get that answer correct. And lock in your answers. If you guys do change your guesses, I'm only going to take your final answer as your overall, pick. So you can't just like spam like every number 1 through 50 and try to figure it out. By the way, 67 wins would be the most if I won every race. And that would be on the entire season. We haven't finished the season up in both series yet either. So 69 is not even possible. 67 isn't possible either. I know that's the max number, but it's not. We have not ran all the races though either, so it's still not possible. And I have not won all of them. People ask me if I've won them all. If I won them all, we'd have probably a 1,000 point lead in the standings or more. Probably way more than that. We would have clinched the title by now in both series. I did not win every race. Sticking with 31 as your final answer. Mistype 27. Yeah, you did your math wrong if you were going with 28. I mean, it still could have been your answer. 22 wins total is the final answer for Brian Rodriguez. You guys have a little over another lap yet. If you haven't answered yet or want to change your answers. Get tonight's trivia question is how many wins does our driver Greg Biffle have between the Cup and the Busch Series combined on our custom schedule season so far? By the way, just a reminder, this is the 33rd race of the Cup Series season. We have raced 29 races in the Busch Series so far. Newman's closed back a little bit on Biffle. Definitely drove it in pretty deep into turns 3 and 4. He's trying to get back to within that drafting range at least of the 60 of Biffle. Biffle going to stay low through the trial. We'll try to make sure that Newman's not going to be able to draft him here. We'll be catching Scott Riggs roughly every 10 laps or so the rest of this race. Well, time to answer that trivia question. Again, if you're just tuning in, I asked you guys for tonight's trivia question based off of this NASCAR 05 video game, and specifically this season, or these seasons we are currently still in the middle of. How many wins does our driver Greg Biffle have in both the Busch and the Cup Series combined on our custom schedule season so far? The answer is 36. 16 Cup wins, 18 Busch wins is what we're sitting at right now. Just got the 18th Busch Series win last night, and that's 16 on the Cup Series right now, so 36. I don't think I saw anybody with that answer. I think the closest I saw was 31. But looks like I have a little bit more wins than what most of you guys thought, but 36 combined. Literally over half the season in the Busch Series and a little less than half the season in the Cup side. Sorry, 34. I did my math. Hang on. Wait a minute. I did my math wrong. 34 is the answer, not 36. 18 plus 16 is 34. I'm glad I caught that myself before anybody else caught it. I still don't think anybody got the answer right. I didn't see 34 in the chat at all. But 34 is the final answer, not 36. My bad. So a couple guys were only 3 off. That's not bad. 18, 16, that's 34. I can't believe I did that. There's my dumb moment of the race. Hopefully that's the only one. We still have over 100 laps to go. I think I'm going to blame the heat. The heat was getting to me. I will say it feels like it's slowly cooling off as the sun's slowly going down. It's still up right now. It's going to be up for about another hour. Only one caution in this race, so it hasn't been a bad race pace at all. And Ryan Newman's caught right back up to Greg Biffle in the 16, challenging him for the lead. If he can use the 10 car of Scott Riggs to his advantage and maybe as a pit car, that could definitely help him because they'll be catching Riggs this next lap. They caught him in the middle of turns 1 and 2 the last lap. And I didn't hear who it was, but it sounds like somebody else is coming back on the track as well. Biffle to the outside of Riggs in turns 1 and 2 again. Quickly gets around Ryan Newman. Newman again caught behind Riggs off of turn 2. Newman to the outside. Oh, the 10 moved up right in front of him on the back straightaway, stacking Newman up even more now into turn 3 as Biffle leads by about a second and a half. Even more than that. Still walking away with it. And there's a big battle for second as they are 3 wide off the exit of turn 4 now out of the rear view and 1.9 seconds off the race lead from Greg Biffle nearly. The largest lead for Biffle in the race today. Have to comment in the chat below if you heard what the crew chief said. I was talking in the middle of him saying who was coming back on the track, but one of the other 2 drivers who have blown an engine today also going to work their way back out. I wonder if it's maybe Robbie Gordon. I doubt Martin's going to come back into the race, considering he blew up on lap 5 and it took so many more laps for the next driver blew an engine. Although there's enough laps left in the race, he could, I guess, theoretically get around. Maybe not Robbie Gordon, but... Well, he wouldn't get around Riggs either, though, because Riggs is on the track now. Interesting. See if we get any cautions the rest of the way, and if we do, I wonder if those 2 will potentially bring out a yellow somewhere in the field with how off the pace they are on such a fast racetrack. Honestly, when I looked at the driver lineup also for NASCAR 06 for the Truck Series, that was the one series I hadn't looked at yet until last night. When I was getting the lineup up on my spreadsheet so that way I could put the polls up today. And I did not realize that Ricky Craven was in the Truck Series field in that game. I had forgotten about that. It had been a long time since I played NASCAR 06. Like NASCAR 05, NASCAR 07, those games I had played quite a bit, even like into the 2010s. So before I picked up NASCAR 05 again, it's probably been around 5, 6, 7 years since I played it before playing it on the channel. So it has been a while, but compared to like Thunder 04, where it had been probably a good 10 or more years at least. And NASCAR 06 kind of the same way. Probably been over 10 years since I played it. I forgot that Ricky Craven was in the Truck Series in that game. I knew he wasn't in the Cup Series anymore in the 32 car, but I forgot he was in the Truck Series full time in 2005. There's a lot of Cup guys in the Busch Series. Like, there's a few of them in NASCAR 05 that are in the Cup and the Busch Series, but in NASCAR 06, there's even more. Like Tony Stewart, J.J. Yaley's, no, he's not in the Cup yet, but Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Kurt Busch, Elliott Sadler, like those guys are not in the NASCAR 05 Busch Series, they're in the NASCAR 06 Busch Series, and then you still have Dale Jr. returning. Martin Truex Jr. is a rookie in the Cup Series, and he is in the Busch Series as well. So I guess Truex would be an extra one as well. Carl Edwards is an extra one. Rookie in the Cup, still running full-time in the Busch in that games. But yeah, Harvick's returning, and Dale Jr.'s returning. On top of it, Matt Kenseth's returning as well. I think Mark Martin was returning. Greg Biffle is not in the Busch Series in that game. Carl Edwards is in the 60 car. They got a little loose off turn 4 that last lap. Again, he made that adjustment change earlier to loosen it up. Might be a little looser on the longer run. We have some cars pitting right now for the third stops of the day at lap 146. Everybody was able to save a few extra laps during the caution period, so might have a chance at more drivers being able to make it on just 2 pit stops in this race compared to originally as well. Looks like the 5 car of Terry Labonte was pitting that time by on the apron off turn 4. I think Labonte might have been the driver who was down a cylinder. But he is on pit road. Ryan Newman is already pit. He'll be a lap down right now at least. Not a bad strategy for Newman, over 1 second off the lead to short pit compared to Greg Biffle, trying to get the track position back and hopefully cycle in front of him following the stops. But even with the caution, Biffle was able to hold on to the lead on the restart. He had a great launch. He got in front of all the lap cars as well. They didn't hold him up at all after restarting on the inside of the lead lap cars. Biffle should be able to stay out to lap 153, but with the caution flag, he might actually be able to go closer to lap 156. Gets underneath the 10 car of Scott Riggs, who was a bit slower again, down a cylinder. Terry Labonte just cycled off pit road on the apron to the racetrack, and luckily stayed low enough for Biffle to make the move on the inside of Riggs that time through 3 and 4. And if Labonte is that other slow car, he's going to merge right back into traffic in front of a lot of cars. And that has definitely held Harvick up, who is still out on the racetrack and has not made his 3rd stop of the day yet. We've got 2 more pit stops left to the end of the race. Dale Jr. coming out of the pits. A little loose through turns 1 and 2 for Biffle that time. 22 likes on the stream right now. Thanks for everybody hitting that like button. You guys have done great with that all week, I've noticed. You guys do a great job on a nightly basis, but this week has been really, really good in the likes department on the live streams, whether it has been NASCAR 5 for the Busch or the Cup Series, NASCAR 21 Ignition earlier in the week, the live race commentary. We had over 100 likes, now back-to-back races as well. And hopefully we can shoot for more this weekend for both the Truck and the Cup Series races. I'll be doing live commentary for Saturday night for the Truck Series at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing live commentary for that race, and then live commentary for the Cup race on Sunday at 2:30 Eastern Standard Time at Kansas as well. So all but the left front right now in the yellow and the tire wear indicator for Greg Biffle currently. I think, again, the rear tires are wearing out a bit more because of making that adjustment to maybe loosen the car up a bit, and now the left front's with it. I almost said 10 to go. 100 laps to go, this time by at the line for the Biff. Trying to get the California sweep on the Cup Series season and extend the points lead on Jeff Gordon. He's trying to race Ryan Newman for the most laps led as well. He's still pretty far behind him for the time being. Newman's led 98 laps in today's race. And if he can cycle out ahead of Greg Biffle, that's going to be huge as well for Biffle in the championship department. He wants a shot to clinch the title in the next race at Bristol next week. I don't know if he's going to really have a shot to or not, though. It's going to depend really how far behind Biffle Jeff Gordon finishes tonight on how easy or hard that is going to be at Bristol in the next race. Biffle did win the Food City 500 at Bristol earlier this season, so he'll also be trying to go for the Bristol sweep as well. That race was caution-free in the first race, just like the first California race is caution-free. But one caution so far today at lap 114 in this Caution race. After a long green flag run to start, a decent green flag run right now since the restart at about lap 117. Lap 152 right now, just hitting low on fuel for Greg Biffle. Again, was able to save a little bit during the caution flag, so he's not going to pit this time by at lap 153 like he was originally going to. But he's not going to stretch an extra 3 laps either. Probably go to lap 154 and then he'll pit. So go 1 extra lap on total laps, which would actually be about 2 less laps on green flag stint. But he's able to do that. Lap 124, you saw Harvick just coming off of pit road, making a stop. Well, the moment of truth, will Ryan Newman cycle ahead of Greg Biffle? He was over 1 second off the lead. He pitted at lap 146, about 8 laps before Biffle. Biffle will be pitting this time by. One more stop to the end after this one. Biffle. Pretty hard onto pit road, did not speed. Great job. No adjustments this time. 4 tires and fuel for the 16 Granger Ford. And more water. Breaking news in the championship department, Jeff Gordon stayed out to lead a lap. That was crucial for Jeff Gordon. He had not led a lap all day, and with less than 100 laps to go, he'll lead his first lap of the race during green flag pit stops for the 3rd set of stops today. So Jeff Gordon staying out 1 lap longer than Greg Biffle at least. And it looks like he'll stay out another lap longer than Biffle as well. Biffle working his way off of pit road right now, and Jeff Gordon in the 24 car is steaming, and he is about to lap Greg Biffle. Unless Biffle could cycle out ahead of Gordon, I don't know. It's going to be close into turn 3. Gordon to the outside, but Biffle just got to get up to speed before Gordon can get around him, so Biffle will remain on the lead lap. So if we do get a caution flag, he's not going to be a lap down. Jerry Fasnat, welcome to the stream. No shot at the championship for Biffle tonight. But as far as the race win, it's looking better now than what it was in the first half of the race. He's maintained the track position since that one caution at lap 114. And Ryan Newman looked to be the fastest car for the first 100 laps or so, but Biffle took the lead at lap 108 for the first time in this race, finally ran him down, and the adjustment changes during the first stop of the day have really helped for Biffle. Gordon staying out as long as he can, though, to try and trap the field a lap down, at least the drivers from 8th on back. Looks like Terry Labonte in the 5 car. The next slow car, that's Gordon's teammate. Biffle down to the bottom to get away from Labonte. Gordon gets around Labonte pretty easily as well, and Labonte will probably block from 2nd on back to help his teammate Gordon out. Biffle on those fresher tires, though, compared to the 24, is definitely pulling away. I almost wonder if some cars pitted during the caution at lap 114, and maybe that's why Gordon and these guys are going a lot further in fuel, because Gordon's running the high side through 3 and 4, so he's definitely not going to pit this time either. There's no way he's going about 52, 53 laps on a green flag stint, or on green flag laps on fuel, so I almost wonder if the top 6 pitted already. That's going to be interesting to see how that strategy plays out. I don't think they can make it a 1 stop. I think it's still a 2-stopper to the end. But we'll see. Definitely going to have to pit for tires the next time. There's no way you're going to go over 40 to 45 laps extra on a tire stint at this racetrack. Even though it's not as worn out of a surface as what we have now, it's still pretty hard thing to do, especially on a 2-mile racetrack. That poll's getting a lot tighter in the chat. It was up to 82% at one point in time. Dale Jr. versus Tony Stewart for the driver I'm going to use in the Cup Series in NASCAR 06. We got down to those two based off of a couple days worth of voting polls. Had 5 polls 2 days ago, 4 more yesterday, 2 earlier today, leading up to the final 2, of course, now in the chat. Throughout the course of tonight's stream, again, at the end of the race, that will be finalized. But Dale Jr. still leading the way right now over Tony Stewart for the driver I'm going to use in the Cup Series in NASCAR 06. Total team control. About 36.5 seconds off the race lead right now. It is going to be interesting to see when those guys pit. I'm guessing that they pitted during the caution. That's the only logical thing for why they're able to go so much further on fuel. I mean, they're already going 7 laps further this time by. But that's great strategy, though, for Jeff Gordon. He got ahead of the other drivers who have already made a pit stop, and he's able to lead his first laps of the race. And him leading this many laps is going to take away laps led for Biffle as well, because Gordon's leading the laps. So Gordon doesn't have enough laps left to be able to lead the most to Ryan Newman, but if he can get in the way of Biffle potentially getting 10 bonus points, that is also another good reason that Gordon could play this strategy. And if he gets a caution to get track position back, or if he does have to pit and take fresher tires, that's going to be good for him as well. R6, welcome into the stream. Yep, Chevrolet for both of them, manufacturer-wise, in NASCAR 06. And remember, you could switch through teammates in that game, which I plan on doing for field pass purposes as well. So you can also kind of keep that in mind. That'd be very, very brief, though, just a couple laps, throughout the course of the race. Most of the race, I'm obviously going to run as Dale Jr. By most of, I mean like almost every lap. Tony Stewart's going to lead his first lap of the race this time by 5 bonus points for him. Jeff Gordon just pitted from the lead that last lap. So Gordon will pit from the lead. It is definitely still a 2-stopper for him, but I almost wonder if they go fuel only the final stop. Takes 4 tires now. A few other drivers on the pit road as well that likely stayed out. I wonder how many lap cars potentially were also on the same strategy. Biffle's going to have a big lead on Ryan Newman, though. Newman did not have a great pit stop compared to the 16 of Biffle. And actually, Gordon did not pit that last lap. There were some cars that pit. Stewart actually took the lead outright from Gordon. I wonder if Stewart just pit that time off for giving the lead back to Jeff. Trying to short pit versus the 24 car to cycle back out in front of him potentially. But as they raced pretty hard with one another, Biffle was able to pull away a little bit more. Catching up to Terry Labonte in the 5 car once again. Biffle catches him on the front stretch off the exit of turn 4, passes him quickly down to the bottom. Jeff Gordon's still on the racetrack. He'll stay out again, lap 167 right now for the leaders. There's no way they're going to be able to make it to around lap 200. We've seen drivers go 51, 52 laps on a green flag run today. I think 52 is the furthest I've seen anybody go, and that was Harvick during the second fuel run of the race, which was all green flag laps. So 52 laps is about maximum. Greg Biffle went 51 laps a couple times. 52 is as far as anybody can make it, likely outside of Biffle. And Gordon is definitely pitting this time by. Biffle blows around Riggs on the front stretch that time as well. But Jeff Gordon is on pit road for 4 tires and fuel. So still going to have to pit one more time after this one. They're hoping they could catch a caution, maybe not right now, but following the strategy once everybody pits before they make their final stop late in the race. And who knows, maybe they short pit again once the window opens in about another 30 laps or so. That could be possible as well. But Greg Biffle definitely has his largest lead of the race today at about 5.5 seconds. It's like 5.7 second lead right now. We don't even know if Ryan Newman is necessarily the driver in second place. Gonna alternate through the different camera angles one final time in today's race over the next 8 laps, as we currently have 82 laps to go in tonight's race. So many laps we have left in the voting poll for both the Truck Series and the Community tab, with those 3 polls setting up tomorrow's final poll for that. And then, of course, tonight with Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading the way in the Cup poll. Kind of a side note with this game, I'm so close to unlocking all the chase plates. I only have 2 left. And I don't know how many I would get for winning a championship in the Busch in the Cup Series. It might be enough to get the final 2. But if I run less races, I'm not going to get skill points for maybe the final, the final Busch race and the final 2 Cup races. So I know I could get one of them unlocked. I might not get the final one unlocked before I finish up what we need to with this game. At least for this. I still have a career mode I'm going to finish, so I'll end up breaking it eventually and getting all of this stuff unlocked whenever I have the time to get back to it. It might not be till next winter before I can finish out the career mode on the game, but offline, of course, and off the channel. When do I pit? Probably just going to take it as far as I can in case we get a caution. We've had one so far today. It was at lap 114. So it would be the longest green flag run of the race today if we do stay green to the end. Biffle has no plans on pitting anytime soon. And it could probably end up going to around 45 laps to go before he makes the final stop. Again, the window will open with about 52 to go. I don't think everybody is going to be good to make it on one stop anyway. I know those that just pitted are definitely still going to have to make another stop. They just pitted an extra time with that caution coming out at lap 114, so it looked like we had 6 drivers that were on the lead lap that had actually pitted during the caution. And it allowed for Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon to lead some laps. Stewart led 1, and Gordon was able to lead about a dozen or so, give or take. 5.2 second lead right now for Greg Biffle over second place. It's pretty calm for the time being. He really needs this to play green to the end, and he may have a great shot to win the championship in the next race, in the Bristol night race. I'm so hoping I clinch the championship at Bristol, because not only it would be cool to get NASCAR 6 going, a different game because we've been playing this for a while, but it would be so fitting that my favorite NASCAR game of all time on the channel that we've been playing for over a year now with this playthrough is finally going to come to an end, and have a chance for the final race for me to ever run on that game on the channel to be at Bristol, which is my favorite racetrack of all time for the Bristol night race. Like, that would just be so poetic in so many ways. So hoping for a good finish to tonight's race for Biffle in the point standings. We'll see where Gordon finishes. It's going to be tough to clinch the title at Bristol if Gordon gets a good finish. Gordon's obviously led 5 laps. Or led laps for 5 bonus points. Biffle's led for 5 bonus points, so I think that's going to cancel out. I don't think Biffle's going to be able to lead the most, just because Ryan Newman has led 98 laps today, and I don't know if there's enough laps left in the race for Biffle to be able to lead that many, especially considering that Gordon's going to lead more once Biffle ends up pitting his final time a little bit later as well. Not to mention if a caution comes out, and how that's going to play into effect in this race with strategy, with pitting as well. Will we be within the final window? Will it be in the middle of green flag stops with the split strategies from the field that we could potentially see the second yellow? Will it be a late race restart? Who knows? I mean, I didn't mind dirt when I was there, but I'd prefer concrete Bristol. I'm still all on the bandwagon of NASCAR having a dirt race, maybe even 2 in the Cup Series, but not at Bristol. I understand why they do it, but Bristol's my favorite track of all time, concrete, so keep dirt off of it. And as an Ohioan, bring them to Eldora. I'm all for it. But I also made a video about it too, that of other options. You know, Eldora and Knoxville were probably the two best for seating capacity wise. But even if they were to run like an exhibition race, all-star race weekend, and have it on the dirt track at Charlotte, bring some temporary seating in for that, that'd be kind of cool. Or in the build-up for Speed Weeks, having it at Volusia County and running a doubleheader with the World of Outlaws while they run their Dirt Nationals at the beginning of February like they usually do, and then have NASCAR run an exhibition race, the Clash, so to speak, there. Bring in some extra seating, people will watch it. You're already going to have a lot of dirt racing fans there that may be NASCAR fans. I think that could attract a new audience, because I think one thing with dirt racing that I've noticed, especially being at Dirt Bristol this year, a lot of dirt racing fans went to that race, and a lot more dirt racing fans maybe are into NASCAR because NASCAR is racing at dirt even on the top level now. So people that wouldn't necessarily have watched a NASCAR race before, willing to watch NASCAR because they're doing something that they like watching. So, and they had fun watching it too, which is obviously another good sign. So I do think that dirt racing does attract more fans, and I mean that could be part of the uptick in viewership this year. Look at the races after Dirt Bristol, excluding Dover, that was a rain race and ended up working its way to a Monday. The ratings are always going to be down for rain races. But in the races outside of that, Darlington had quite a few views, even with the F1 race going on. And then the two races where, again, there was no rain out and no F1, over 4 million people watched Talladega. And what was the other race they had in between Bristol and now that I might have forgot to mention? There was another race in there that had about 4 million viewers as well. Well, the Bristol race in general had a lot of viewers. I think that might be what I was thinking of. That had over 4 million also. So yeah, the combination of both of those, for sure. I think it does attract an audience. I think it attracts more of an audience than what people give it credit for. People were definitely giving the Busch Clash credit for bringing in new fans, and I think you have to say the same with Dirt Bristol. Or dirt racing in general with NASCAR, but I don't see it going anywhere with the way the TV ratings came in, honestly, and the way the finish of the race was. I just don't see it. I don't see how you can get rid of it now, or how NASCAR would get rid of it. I can see how you can, because again, I've made suggestions for it on a video on the channel when I got back from Bristol that weekend, but there's no, I just don't think there's any way that NASCAR themselves are going to pull the trigger with it. Half dirt, half concrete walking. Where'd you hear that from? I have not heard that in my life. There's no way there's no way that would happen. Out on a road course. Well, halfway on fuel during this run for Biffle, 70 laps to go in the race. And the fuel window is less than 20 laps away from opening up to make it on one more stop to the end. Making the final stop. Most of the field will only have to pit one more time. Might be some cars that pitted a little too early that last run. They're going to have to stretch these final two runs out to be able to make it on just one more stop. We'll see how that all plays out. Biffle just focused on logging in more and more laps led right now as he continues to grow the lead out to about 5.8 seconds over second place. And he needs to lead as many laps as he can if he's going to want a shot at the most laps led to get a max points day if he does go to victory lane. And even if he doesn't win, just to get 10 bonus points. Fight for a championship, trying to clinch it as soon as possible. Sooner he can clinch it, the more relaxing it'll be for Biffle, and just to get that off the shoulder that I will finally win a season-long championship in the Cup Series on this game. I'm 0 for 2 so far when doing season-long championships and winning championships, both on NASCAR Thunder 2004. Finished 13th and 6th in the point standings in both of the seasons I ran there. One with Biffle, one with fan-voted driver Terry Labonte at the time. Fan-voted driver Jimmy Johnson we won a title with, but we also had the chase in that first season, so it wasn't a season-long points format. This one, it is. Looks like there may have been trouble in turns 3 and 4 on the last lap, as there's a lot of smoke in there in the middle of that corner, but we continue to stay green for the time being, which is big. Exactly how I am with NASCAR. Watched it because it was on dirt. I think it'd work better on a purpose-built dirt track. I'd say, I don't know if it'd work better. The racing itself would work better or worse on a normal dirt track. I just think taking away a Bristol race, like a regular Bristol race away, you're basically eliminating a short track race on the schedule. And fans have been vocal about wanting more short tracks. So, you know, you're taking away, in my opinion, the best short track on the schedule, and you're only having one race there on normal Bristol. Because the dirt race is its own animal. I don't think you could really group it in with a short track per se, because all dirt tracks are short tracks. There's no dirt track out there that's longer than a mile in length. Want to open Nazareth someday again? I'm sure there's been rumors of that going around since the day they closed it. Just like North Wilkesboro, though, they're going to need a lot of renovations for it. And I don't know, I feel like North Wilkesboro was always more of an option than Nazareth just because they had cup races at North Wilkesboro, where I don't remember them having cup races at Nazareth, or at least if they did, it was before I was alive. So there was, well, granted, I guess it would have been before I was alive for North Wilkesboro also, but a little different there because at least it was in the mid-90s. There was a very popular racetrack with the fans. Like Nazareth was probably popular with the fans, but not as popular as North Wilkesboro. And they had cup races at one point in time, so I just feel like it's more liable of an option for them to do that versus a track that was pretty much standalone truck and Xfinity based racetrack. An IndyCar race there, of course, as well. But looking at the NASCAR side of things, and let's be honest, NASCAR is going to bring in more money to the facility than IndyCar. I don't think they'll open the track up just for IndyCar because IndyCar just doesn't sell quite as well as NASCAR, unless it's the Indy 500. But that's because the Indy 500 is over 100 years old, and it's literally the longest running motorsports race in the world, which in my personal opinion makes it the most historic. And in my opinion, also makes it the biggest race in motorsports history on an annual basis. So that's why that draws as much as it does. Especially with the locals. Right front tire starting to wear out on the 16 at Biffle right now. Again, he's coming towards the end of his line before making his final stop of the day. Probably within the last 20 laps of his fuel and tire stint right now. Hoping it stays green at least long enough to get to that stop. He's drawn the lead out to about 6.2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Looking at the poll right now, Dale Jr. is down to 67%. It was at 82%, I think, at one point before lap 100. So in about 100 laps, maybe a little less than that, it has come down 25% in the chat. It's not over yet. Wondering how close it may get before the end. Not sure how many votes have been casted yet. I'll check that during the next and final pit stop of the race. Yeah, Rockingham would probably be more reliable as well of an option. The only thing with that, though, is that North Wilkesboro's in North Carolina. Rockingham's in South Carolina. You already have a track in Rockingham's in North Carolina, southern North Carolina. That's 3 tracks in North Carolina, and then you have Darlington in South Carolina. You have Bristol within a couple hours of Charlotte. Martinsville's within a few hours of Charlotte. So there's just so many tracks already in that area. And Martinsville, Bristol, Charlotte, when you consider the Roval, all have 2 dates. Darlington has 2 dates now as well. I just don't know. It's just not going to draw as many people. Wilkesboro will draw a lot of people for the first few races, but then once people go there and they actually see it, I doubt like those same people are going to return. Yeah, the locals are going to return. But as far as a draw from outside fan base, you know, they're probably not going to show up as much over a long period of time. Oop, Biffle in the wall off turn 4. That might have been the first time he got in the wall all day today. Got back in the gas a little too soon there. At least he has a big lead to work with. Starting tomorrow, or are you talking about NASCAR 06? No. I still have to wrap up the Busch Series and the Cup Series, and we have more voting still to get through. This is the last of the votes for the Cup Series tonight, but we still have to get through the truck votes. We'll finish that up tomorrow, and I haven't even started the Busch Series votes, so that'll start up tomorrow yet too. Because remember, I'm going to have to start with the truck and the Busch Series as well. And I did look last night. I will not be able to run the Bud Shootout on the season mode like I did with NASCAR Thunder 04 and NASCAR 05, so that's unfortunate. Because the last time we ran a Bud Shootout, we had a crazy finish on this custom schedule season on NASCAR 05. And it's Daytona. It's an extra race in Daytona, so who wouldn't want to see that? But unfortunately, I won't be able to do it. So the very first stream I'm going to do will be the truck race at Daytona on NASCAR 06 when the time comes. But I have to clinch the championships yet in 05 for both the Cup and the Busch Series because we're still racing there. Busch Series, I have a chance to clinch tomorrow night. And I can't get the next Cup race out on the channel until probably Monday for the Bristol night race because I'll be doing live commentary on Sunday and Saturday this weekend for the Kansas races. Yeah, NASCAR definitely has to return to Canada in some way, shape, or form. I'd be down for them returning to Mexico, too. A lot of heavy traffic coming up ahead. Scott Riggs holding everybody up like Labonte did a couple laps ago. Definitely the heaviest lap traffic has been around any of the leaders so far in the race today. Three wide into turn 1 right now with a couple cars to the outside of Greg Biffle. Biffle holds clear. So yeah, likely looking at Monday being the last NASCAR 05 stream. You can't. I haven't been to Canada. I'd like to go. I mean, if NASCAR ends up racing there again, I'd like to go and see a NASCAR race and take a first trip to Canada. I don't know if I'd go there for a Busch or a Truck Series race, or Busch, an Xfinity or a Truck Series race. But if the Cup Series ever races there, for sure. Especially if it's during hockey season, whether it's in Montreal or maybe in the Toronto area, catch a Red Wings game potentially too. Oh yeah, be a blast. Just a few more lap cars out in front of Greg Biffle yet. There's also cars pitting that last lap. The cars that pit that last lap are not going to be able to make it on field of the end. Again, that window is about 52 laps. We have 54 to go right now. I don't see anybody being able to make it that far. Nobody's made it further than 52 laps on a full fuel run so far in the race today. We'll say in traffic, this 16 car is even looser. Even more unstable after the setup change from earlier in the race, but he's had mostly clean air since the setup change. He's making passes on lap cars now. Gets around Ricky Craven off turn 4. A lot of cars going a lap down right now in the second half of this race on another long green flag run. Still haven't reached as far of a green flag run as what we had earlier. About a 80 lap green flag run right now. It was 114 to start the race. This fan go lose. Yeah, they're still in the playoffs. I have watched a few playoff hockey games. I'll probably end up watching a little bit more. I'm going to eat before I go to bed tonight. Probably turn the game on. I haven't caught like a full game. Most of the games I've been watching have been like second period. I get done streaming or I stream a little later at night and I catch like the start of a game before I stream at 8 when I get off the golf course. So I've been keeping up with the playoffs at least somewhat from the games I watch. I think I watched, what was it? It was game 2 of Pittsburgh and who are they playing right now? Pittsburgh and the Rangers, I believe. And then I watched a couple nights ago, I think it was game 5 between Tampa and Toronto. That'd be cool. I've heard murmurings of that. I don't know how true it is or not. But I've heard those rumors. Rumors are rumors until something becomes official. Kind of how I was taking it with North Wilkesboro Speedway. Grain of salt every time. Still grain of salt. Now that they're actually going to be racing there, and there's actually going to be racing there this year, I do think that the Cup Series will be there someday. It might be a few more years. It might be another 4 or 5 years yet, but I think they will get there someday. I don't think they're going to put all this money into it just to get a truck race there. I just don't see that being the end result. I feel like financially that's just not going to sustain the racetrack. But if they get the TV money that NASCAR brings in when the Cup Series goes there, and you know, ticket sales when the Cup Series goes there, because I guarantee they'll sell out that first race especially. That'll be more sustainable. You saw what they were able to do with Nashville, selling about 40,000 tickets. It'd probably be about the range of tickets, adding some seating capacity at North Wilkesboro as well. 50 laps to go. It'll be down to 49 to go this time by for Greg Biffle. So 49 to go for the Biff to try and win race number 17 of the Cup Series season. Loose getting into turn 1. Trying to hang on to it. When will he make his final stop? He's trying to go as far as he can on fuel right now. Just because you never know. A little loose in turns 3 and 4. Going up the track a little bit. Got the left side tires down onto the apron in 3 and 4. It doesn't stick as well as it does now. At least with this game. Wasn't there 4 game 6s going on tonight? Oh, that's right. I watched the game last night, too. What game did I watch? No, it wasn't last night. It was, shoot, 2 nights ago. Oh, no, that might have been the Tampa and Toronto game I was talking about. Yeah, never mind. Guess those are the only 2 I've seen so far this playoffs. Biffle catching up to Terry Labonte in the 5 car. Going to go to the outside of Labonte off turn 2. Just enough room to get around. Biffle's going to pit at lap 205. So Biffle's going to stay out this time by. He'll pit at lap 205 the following time, which means when he comes off pit road, he'll have 45 laps to go. And he wants to lead as many laps as possible before turning that race lead back over to Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart again. We'll see if he has a shot to get to Ryan Newman for the most laps led in this race. So it's going to be pretty close. Races around Scott Riggs pretty quickly on the bottom into turns 1 and 2. Who knows, maybe Biffle gets a caution right now before he pits. That would be ideal if we did see another one. But he's probably better off if it stays caution-free. So Biffle will pit this time off turn 4. 4 tires and fuel. Trying to gain as much time onto pit road as he can. Great job. No adjustment this time through. Haven't needed to make one since the first adjustment on the first stop of the day. This is the 4th and final stop for the 16 team of Greg Biffle. And more water. Tony Stewart will take over the race lead. Woo! 32 fluid ounces of water down from lap 51 when I pit to lap 206. Lap 205 pit stop. So, what, that equates to about 2 bottles of water and about 150 laps. Greg Biffle going to cycle out of the pits in 5th right now. It seems like 2 of the drivers that were originally on a different strategy have short pitted once they got within the window to make it to the end. So the top 4 are still on the track and will still have to make another stop before the end of this race. A 777 down in the chat. Was that for like game 7s, Malachi? It was about 29.7 seconds off the lead from Stewart. When will Stewart and Gordon, those guys, lead? Can Biffle get the most laps led on Ryan Newman? The sooner those guys pit, the better for Biffle. The caution would really trap the field. Bunch of laps down, though, right now. At least Biffle knows he'd be on the lead lap. He'd be one of the few. It also locked Jeff Gordon into a good finish, too, though, so that's another reason Biffle doesn't want there to be a caution. Gordon's on the same strategy that Stewart is. Unless Gordon was one of them that had short pitted, then he'd be a lap down right now, but I doubt he would have been one of the cars to do it, knowing his championship implications being on the line in these final 4 races still. Dale Jr. will likely get knocked out of contention tonight. He's not on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen for the point scenarios, but he still has a shot mathematically. He may be eliminated from contention at the end of this race, especially if Biffle ends up going on to win the race even without a max points day. Lost your first 2 matches of the week. That stinks. I had some guys that were in a golf league I was in a couple of years ago before I started the YouTube channel. They were asking me if my dad and I were going to make it, and I was telling them that I didn't tell them I had a YouTube channel at the time of me doing it, but that is some of the reason. You know, it'd be tough to do it on a nightly basis. That, and I'm working, you know, Tuesdays now too, so between work and then getting home for YouTube, there's just no way Tuesday or Wednesday I could do it. Thursday would be possible, but that would take away a Cup stream too, though. Like that, I would be able to do it if I could do like a Busch or a Truck Series race that night, but that means we'd only have 2 Cup races to stream. When we're doing this, you know, the older game playthroughs, that means we're going to finish the other 2 series a lot sooner than we would finish the Cup Series. So we kind of throw the scheduling off of it. We're doing 3 to 4 races a week of the other series. And only 2 for the main series, and the main series has a longer schedule. 54, 51. Yeah, I've been really good. My last 3 rounds, I had a 39 on a 9-hole round. Then my second to last 18-hole round was my best 18-hole round of the year so far, 77. And I shot an 80 a couple days ago. I didn't play after work yesterday because my allergies were really bad. And I'm still kind of feeling them in the morning again today, this early in the year. But I'll be back out playing tomorrow after work. I'll play 9 holes. Before we stream that Las Vegas race. My allergies hit this time of the year. It's like those first couple days is pretty rough. I really wanted to golf yesterday and today, but I just know when I get out there it's going to be miserable for me health-wise just because I'm going to be sneezing and the entire time. Biffle really drove in deep into turn 3. Started to skid and slide up the racetrack a little bit. Tried to pinch it off deep into the corner because Scott Riggs was running that middle lane when he got to the inside of him into turn 3. Casey Kane leads for the first time today. I think Tony Stewart pit that last lap. 2 of the drivers that were running ahead of Biffle did, and now 3 of them. Kane is the last car that still has to make his final pit stop of the race. barring those other drivers who are going to be short on fuel to the end because they did not make it quite long enough, pitting around 54, 55 laps to go, and we can only go about 52 laps on a full tank. Case Kane leading for the first time today. I believe he is the 5th or 6th different leader. Harvick's led, Stewart's led, Gordon's led, Kane's led, Newman's led, and Biffle's led, I believe, are the only 6 different leaders in tonight's race. We'll see if Kasey Kahne will pit this time. Biffle's hoping he pits. Nope, he stays out again. The reason why is because the more laps he leads, it's less that Biffle can lead to the end and try to get the most laps led on Newman. Now, it's going to come down to a really close margin of laps left between Biffle and Newman at the end of this race. When will Kasey Kahne pit? 35 laps to go right now at now known as Auto Club at California. And Biffle's about 23.5 seconds behind Kane. Kane stays out another lap. Kasey stays out again. Biffle's got to be thinking to himself, man, can he just pit already? I know Newman's led 98 laps. I don't know exactly how many laps that Greg Biffle has pit. Or sorry, I know 98 laps have been led by Newman. I don't know how many laps that Biffle has led. I said pit. I say led. Like I said, the sun and the heat's getting in my head. Sun's not completely down yet. It is mostly shaded, at least my area of the house now. Got a little bit more of daylight. Yeah, they're calling for rain on Saturday at my house. But when I checked the hour by hour earlier, at least up till 4 o'clock it wasn't supposed to rain. So I don't know if it might be Saturday night into Sunday morning. If I can get out and play 9 holes after work Saturday, I will too. It's just going to depend on what time the rain hits Saturday night. I mean, if it rains after 7, I should get 9 holes in by then. Kasey Kahne is on pit road now, finally. And Greg Biffle will lead this lap at the line. So, lead change that time at the start-finish line as Kasey Kahne was pitted on the first half of pit road. And Biffle was able to lead that lap. So the Biff is back out in front at the California Speedway late. Hoping it stays green to the end. 102 laps currently on the green flag run we are on. And our only caution was at lap 114 so far when Tony Stewart had wrecked in turns 1 and 2. How long does it take me to play around? Me personally, I usually walk. I think I've gotten a cart twice this year. But granted, some of the time was because I was out. Like when I went to Bristol, I got a golf cart because my uncle was with me. So, like, it's usually if I go with somebody, I'll like, somebody that's older, usually. But, usually I walk. I have a cart bag, or a thing, like a push cart for my bag, so which my golf bag this year is a lot lighter. I got a new bag in the off-season. I could probably carry this one, it wouldn't bother me, but it was just kind of getting old before, so I had a bag last year. But anyway, yeah, for 18 holes, I could usually walk it and get done. It depends how I play. If I'm, like, really good, I'm not taking as much time usually between shots. I'm usually pretty quick. And if I don't get slowed up, I think I can play around about 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours. Is about average. When I'm in a cart and I don't get held up, I get done in like an hour and 45 minutes. I get back at the clubhouse and they're like, geez, you've played 18 holes already? I'm like, yeah, there was... wasn't anybody out there in front of me. I play a very quick pace. Like, I barely take practice shots. The only time I really do is if I'm off and I'm just trying to slow things down, but, I mean, usually I just don't think about it too much. I just go up, line up, in such a routine and a rhythm. And that's why when I get held up, I feel like I struggle quite a bit, because if I even get held up for like one shot, I feel like it really messes my rhythm off. But yeah, 18 holes in a cart, I can get done less than 2 hours, but probably close to about 2 hours, 15 minutes, 2.5 hours when I'm walking by myself. Want to play a full 18 on Saturday? It's just like 9 holes is too short. I almost don't even like playing 9 holes after work, just because like I get done. Even if it's hot outside, like it's just like I just want to keep playing. But then if I like have like a bad back 9, it's like, man, I wish I would have stopped at 9 holes. But that usually doesn't happen though. Like, usually if I'm good on the front 9, I'll at least hold my own on the back. .27 laps to go. Again, if you're just tuning in, make sure to cast your votes both in the community tab for the Truck Series polls and then the main Cup Series poll tonight, the final for the Cup Series side. We just started the polls for the Truck Series, so the first 3 are in the community tab, but tonight you get to pick Dale Jr., Tony Stewart. That is our final 2 after a couple days worth of polls. Those were the final 2 that we came up with for tonight's race. We'll see who I will race as at the end of this race on NASCAR 06 between the 2 of them for the Cup Series. I can use those guys again in the Busch Series because I did not race as either one of those 2 in the Busch Series in this game. Or not in the Busch Series in this game, but I didn't drive as Dale Jr. I drove as Greg Biffle, and the fan-voted season I drove as Kevin Harvick. So I cannot drive as Harvick in the Busch Series. And in the Cup Series, I couldn't drive as Jimmy Johnson or Terry Labonte because I'd already driven as those 2 already as well, and Greg Biffle for that matter. Biffle's got about a 13-second lead right now. 25 laps to go at California. Solid race for him so far. Again, that big turnaround was that adjustment change during the first stop. He took the lead at lap 108. And outside of the middle of green flag pit stops where cars stay out longer, the alternating strategy we saw from the lap 114 caution, Biffle has pretty much led every other lap outside of that uncontested. Even on that restart, he was able to get a little over half a second ahead of Newman at a time. And when they caught those slow cars that were down a cylinder, he was just able to slowly gap Newman lap after lap once Newman lost the drafting range behind Biffle. About a dozen or so laps after the restart. Very calm second half of the race right now for the Biff. And he's hoping it stays that way to the end so he can build the championship lead going into the Bristol night race on Monday night. I highly recommend playing golf. It's a lot of fun. You just get so competitive. Like, there's no other sport I've played where I'm more competitive with myself. And that's what I like about golf. Because I'm very competitive, but I'm more competitive with myself. But with golf, it's so score dependent on yourself, and you could really only blame yourself for hitting a bad shot majority of the time. Like, it just all comes down to you, so you have to take all the blame for it. Not that I would be one that would blame other people for, mistakes in a team sport, but it's what I like about it. There's a lot more pressure on you. It's like shooting a free throw when you're in basketball. I always like that pressure. Racing's kind of the same way, too. Like, yeah, you have a team, but at the end of the day, it's down to what the driver is going to do on the track. Because at the end of the day, he's the one that has to bring the car into victory lane. He's the one that's got to finish the race. 67% for Dale Jr. and 33% for Tony Stewart right now, yep. 17% right now on the differential side of things. Above 50. And we have 21 laps to go this time by Greg Biffle. Just lapped his teammate Jeff Burton that last lap through turns 1 and 2. Still about a 12.9 second lead. There's no chance anybody's going to catch Biffle on speed in this one. You're going to need a caution. Try to stack things up for another wild Fontana restart. And we have seen how wide this racetrack is. They fanned out to about 3 and nearly 4 wide on the last restart in the pack. I would think that they're going to do the same. That's even with a single file restart. Just a testament to, again, how wide this track is. Terry Labonte holds up Joe Nemechek. Nemechek goes a lap down, and now Burton's going to get around him. It looked like Nemechek got the back of Terry Labonte in turns 3 and 4, slowing him up even more than what he was already getting slowed up behind him. 20 to go now. Jeff Burton is in the free pass position if we were to get a caution. Nemechek is not. They're just losing his lap. Blew a lot of chances to break 50. Yeah, I mean, I could have even had better than 77. Like, even on my good rounds, there's still those what ifs. You know, it's like, oh, what if this happened? What if that happened? Like, when I shot a 77 that day, I remember vividly I almost had a chip in for birdie on a par 5. A hole that I probably should have had a birdie otherwise, but I was off the green, I was chipping, and it literally hit the stick and, like, stopped, like, I don't even know. Like, it went through the center. And I thought I hit it slow enough I was going to make it. But it pinned out, and it was sitting like 2 inches to the right of the cup at the end of it. Like, it was that close to being a sink-in for birdie, and that would have been a 76. So that was definitely one that was like, the golf guys just didn't want me to get a birdie on that hole, I guess, for some reason. Despite the fact that it looked like I had it made. My putting was a little off that day. Which is weird, because that's usually my best part of the game. I don't think I had any 3 putts, but I think I only 1 putted like once or twice. Usually I'm in that like 6 to 8 range of 1 putts throughout an 18-hole round. I'm usually pretty good at it, but like I said, I didn't 3 putt anything, so it wasn't like the putting was bad, but it wasn't like 100% like it, you know, of, like I said, the 6 to 8 range of 1 putts throughout an 18-hole round. I only had 2. So if I just could have 1 putted in that 6 to 8 range, I could have been even par. Definitely the best iron play I've had this year. That's why it was such a good round. My driving's been good. My short game's been good. I've had 2 chip-ins already this year. I had one from off the fringe for a birdie on a par 3 already this year, and I think I've only played like 12 rounds total. Maybe 14, somewhere around there. Well, no, not even that many rounds, because I've played 9 holes a lot. I think if I combine the 9-hole rounds with the 18-hole rounds, I think I've played like 9 rounds total so far this year. And I already have 2 chip-ins. Had one from like 40 feet away on a par 4, or 40 yards in front of the green on a par 4, which is probably the longest I think I've holed one out before. So there we go, 5 bonus points added on to the 5 that Greg Biffle's already received. 16 laps to go. He has just clinched the most laps led on Ryan Newman. So I mentioned it was going to be close in the laps led department, and it looks like Greg Biffle has led enough. He will get 10 bonus points in today's race at California. He will eclipse the 100 lap lead mark, and now Biffle's just got to finish up the job and win the race as he continues to pull away. He's 14.2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. Had 1 chip in for birdie. Yeah, I've had 2 this year. That's insane. Granted, I mean, I've had chip-ins before from like the fringe, kind of like I did with the first chip-in I had, but I think the furthest I've holed one out was like that 40-yarder. That was pretty cool. Could imagine what it would feel like to knock one in from... I had a buddy of mine in high school I played with. I saw him knock one in from like 120 yards out on the last hole that day. I was like, you lucky. Like, it stopped like just shy of the pin, and it was kind of windy that day. We're like, oh man, that was a close shot. We were walking up, and I didn't see it drop. He was like, it fell in. And I was like, what? And he was like, what? It fell. Because I don't think he said it fell in. I think he was like, it fell. And I was like, what fell? And he's just like, the ball went in the hole. And we walked up, and it was I like looked over. I didn't see the ball anymore. I was like, no way. And then we walked up there. Sure enough, it was in the hole. That must have been like sitting like right on the edge of the cup, and then just enough wind must have blew by on the green that when we were walking up there, it just dropped right in. Like, that's crazy. I think that was for birdie, though. I don't think it was for eagle. I think he had a bad second shot to put him in that. Like, he chunked it or something, but then he ended up... He still got the birdie. Doesn't matter how you do it. Still pretty cool. I mean, I've been close to a hole-in-one a few times before, but... Like, I feel like if I just keep throwing darts at the pin like I do when I'm in mid-season form, like this year I've been kind of inconsistent with it, but the last few rounds I can definitely feel it's going in the right direction. The weather's getting warmer and getting a few more rounds in me finally because I'm able to play more. That I feel like this is the year, if I don't get a hole-in-one, I'm going to at least hole one out from over 100 yards. I just have that feeling. Like I said, I've had 2 chip-ins already, and I've had... Yeah, I don't know. I've had moments in the past where I've almost holed one in. It feels like a bunch. It's not like it's like an every round thing, but, you know, over the course of the week, I feel like there's... If I play 5 rounds in a week, there's one that I leave within, like, 4 feet of the hole. I just feel like one of these times I'm going to do it this year. Golfers make shots from 250. Yeah, that's just ridiculous. Albatross. I'd like to, I mean, even if I do that, that'd be cool. I couldn't imagine hitting a hole-in-one, but something like that I feel like I could do, though. I mean, I guess it's like the same thing. It's just not my first try. It's a par 3. Ten laps to go this time by. Brian Vickers now the first car 1 lap down as he lost that lap. A couple laps to go. We'll just got around Terry Labonte. He'll get around Scott Riggs going into turn 1 this lap on the inside. So with 10 laps to go, we'll see if we get a caution. Remember, the race can end under yellow if we do get one late enough in the going. 10 to go. Dale Jr. still leading the fan vote as of right now. Probably no surprise Junior Nation has spoke up this week. And again, I cannot use him for the Cup Series going forward, but I'm surprised he hasn't won the fan vote in the first 2 games. I'm really shocked Terry Labonte won the first year. I know it was still a a good ride. It was a Hendrick Motorsports car, but kind of surprised. And I mean, considering I've literally only drove with Roush and Hendrick in the early to mid-2000s in these EA Sports games, I think DEI, even though it's good equipment, it's not quite as good as, these two. But Dale Jr. obviously was a championship contender in the mid-2000s, so it's still going to be good equipment I'm going to be in. Or if Tony Stewart obviously ends up winning, he was a multiple-time champion. He actually won the championship in 2005, which is when this game takes place. 1 car on pit road right now, so we're definitely seeing those drivers that can't make it on field to the end on just 4 stops in this race that did not pit under the caution flag at lap 114, pitting right now. It's the longest green flag run of the race so far, as we're 125 laps in to this current green flag run. I've been getting a lot of more backspin on my balls this year, though, too. From what I've noticed. Like, I kind of noticed last year I was getting a little bit more, but I feel like this year, like, it's actually backtracked a couple times. Not that far, but like a couple, like a 6-inch. Like, I'll have a divot and then like 6 inches back it'll be. Like, before, my ball basically like landed in my divot. It would just kind of hop and stop. But this year, I feel like it's just getting progressively better. And I feel like I'm getting more control over it, which is why I'm probably chipped 2 of them in already this year. It's just pinpoint accuracy, I guess. Greg Biffle to the outside of the 77 car. Brendan Gaughan cycles off pit road, gets up. Oh, to speed! Guards in the wall. Caution late. He went up to block Biffle. Damage on the front of the 16 car. With 7 laps to go, our second caution of the race. What was he doing there? Biffle was on the outside, and, I mean, Gaughan just moved up right in front of him and turned himself. Unbelievable. Drama late. And anybody who is going to be short on fuel, this is a caution that completely saves them. And they may even try to stay out. See a few cars pitting. Harvick stays out. He'll be the leader. Biffle can't pit for fuel or tires, but he was involved in the yellow. I'm not sure how many cars were on the lead lap either. I feel like there had to have been a lot of cars lapped down after a 125 lap green flag run. Biffle had about a 13.5 second lead over Harvick. Dale Jarrett's on pit road as well. He'll take some tires. Biffle's going to have his work cut out for him. He does not have fresher tires on this restart. That is unbelievable. Brendan Gaughan came off the pit road, pulled up right in front of Greg Biffle. Green flag back in the air. Biffle's going to restart in 10th, but we only have 3 laps to go. These restarts could get wild at California, and we'll see if Biffle can still come back to win this one. One of the most laps today. He did not take off well on the restart. Dale Jarrett on the fresher tire is going to get around him, and Biffle's now back to 11th place. How racy will it get at the front of the field, and obviously how much is his damage on the front of the 16 going to slow him down, especially on a fast racetrack like California, such a momentum track. Drafting's going to be a big part in the finish of this one. We got back around Jarrett through turns 3 and 4 to get back inside the top 10. 2 laps to go at California. They make it to the final lap. No cautions will come out on the final lap on this game. Elliott Sadler to the lead on the backstretch, getting around Tony Stewart. Looks like they're side by side for the lead as Biffle gets around Waltrip for 9th. Jeff Gordon's running ahead of the Biff right now. You can see him in the top 5 as they come to the white flag. 1 lap to go for Elliott Sadler. Can he get his first win of the season? Boy, this race has fell into his lap. That was the first lap Sadler's led all day long. 7th different leader in the race. Biffle driving it hard through 1 and 2. He's got a shot to pick up a couple more positions on the final corner on this final lap. Labonte and Wallace nearly making contact in front of Biffle. On the backstretch, they are 3 wide going into 3, just behind the leaders. Looks like Sadler's on the inside trying to hold on. Biffle squeezes underneath Wallace. He'll get around him for 8th. He's in line behind Labonte off turn 4. Casey Kane to the lead now off turn 4. He has cleared Elliott Sadler, and the rookie Casey Kane is going to win at California by 63 one-thousandths of a second over Stewart. Sadler fell back to 3rd. Oh man, what a tough break for Sadler, but Casey Kane gets his first career win today at California and becomes the 11th different winner this season. The 2nd rookie to win a race this year. And of course, he's leading the Rookie of the Year point standings coming in as well, leading just 6 laps. Unbelievable. Casey Kane is your winner. Tony Stewart finishes in 2nd. Elliott Sadler led coming to the white flag, ends up 3rd. Kevin Harvick 4th. Jeff Gordon rounds out the top 5. Kurt Busch 6th. Bobby Labonte 7th. Greg Biffle 124 laps led today, finishes 8th. Rusty Wallace 9th. And Michael Waltrip rounds out the top 10 with a solid run. Outran his other DEI teammate Dale Jr. actually finished a lap down. And only 11 cars finished on the lead lap in this race. That long green flag run leading up to the finish. Ryan Newman led 94. He actually DNF'd. Wow, we had a lot of engine failures in this one, which I figured we were going to get. Let's see. Mark Martin DNF. Charlie Davis, Robbie Gordon, Jamie McMurray all blew an engine. Terry Labonte, Scott Riggs at least finished the race, but they were a bunch of laps down on their engine failures. Ryan Newman blew an engine. Ricky Rudd blew an engine. So it looked like total we had, I believe, 6 drivers DNF, but 8 of them had some sort of an engine failure. 17 lead changes. Nice rebound, top 10. Bad luck with the car throwing the block at the wrong time. Yeah, Brendan Gaughan, of course. 1 Dodge causing the caution to allow another Dodge to win. They not teammates. One was an Everhand Dodge and one was a Penske Dodge. But Casey Kane gets his first career win in his rookie season. It came down to the wire. I was wondering if he was going to get a win at the end of the year, and it looked like he did. And Gordon looks like he's going to gain a few points on Biffle in today's race as well, making it a little bit tighter in the point standings, and that's going to make it even harder for Biffle to clinch the title at Bristol now. In the next race, I mean, if Biffle would have finished there, he would have won, which is a lot more points than finishing 8th. Just, man, that was a tough circumstance there late. And it wasn't a lack of judgment by Biffle. Biffle was on the outside of Gaughan, who was coming out of the pits, and Gaughan just pulled up right in front of him. I mean, I restarted in 10th. I only picked up 2 spots on the restart, but oh well. We'll check out the point standings real quick before we check out the polls. I guess you got a couple more minutes to try and vote. Dale Jr. currently leading the way. It's looking like it will be Dale Jr. winning that poll. 69% for Dale Jr., 31% for Tony Stewart, 55 votes in the poll tonight so far. Dumb driver, yeah, Brendan Gaughan. He's not in the Cup Series in NASCAR 06, so yeah, he was one and done, it looks like, for the Cup Series for Penske, and that's just unfortunate. 296-point lead, so Jeff Gordon was able to gain 8 points in the standings tonight over Greg Biffle, and I think Dale Jr. still has a shot mathematically going into the final 3 races as well. Even though he finished 13th, a lap down tonight. Again, Biffle finishing 8th. Might have allowed Dale Jr. to at least have a shot going into the final 3 races as well. Biffle needs to be 312 points ahead of Jeff Gordon, leaving Bristol for the night race. Want to give him payback of some sort. Costing me a win. I want to stay out of a rivalry this late in the season, to be completely honest. Casey Kane sitting 12th in points. I think he's still, obviously, Rookie of the Year leader. Next closest rookie behind him is Brian Vickers in 18th. And he is about 600 points back. So I believe Casey Kane, with the win tonight, has locked up the Rookie of the Year honors. So congrats for Casey Kane. He's going to be the 2004 Rookie of the Year like he was in real life. And, hey, replicates history at least. He did not win a race in his rookie season, but in real life, winning the Rookie Year, he still had a good season, though. And in this case, it's 12th in points right now, and he's locked up the Rookie of the Year. And got his first win. Looks like we have 56 votes in the chat. The poll will end. I will be running as Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the NASCAR 06 Cup Series season. So you guys have made your votes heard. 69% to Dale Jr., 30%. That's not right. I think it was 70. It was 70-30. So Dale Jr. easily wins the poll tonight. And Dale Jr. is going to be who I'm going to race as. And we're going to try to win Dale Jr. his first career NASCAR championship in the NASCAR 05 season on NASCAR Total Team Control 2006. Still have to wrap up the voting polls for the Truck and the Busch Series. In fact, we're going to look at the Truck Series polls from earlier today as well on the YouTube channel. So let me pull those up real quick, and then I'll go back to the display camera to show you guys the polls. So that's what we're looking at right now for the Truck Series. 72 votes for the first Truck Series poll. Which of these 3 drivers did you want me to race as? Ricky Craven wins the poll. Wow, okay. Ricky Craven beat Kevin Harvick in the polls. Harvick, the only Cup Series regular in the Truck Series in the 06 game. But Ricky Craven in the 99, which is coincidentally the same truck, same paint scheme, too, that I ended up driving as is Carl Edwards, but it is a different driver. And Ricky Craven leading the way right now. So he'll be in the final poll tomorrow. Chase Montgomery will also be in the final poll tomorrow. 56% of the votes to Bill Lester's 29%, 2% for Chad Chafin. And Brandon Witt gets 13%. Also, Harvick had 33%. Todd Kluver had 7% in that first poll. And then the final poll, Ron Hornaday wins in a pretty much landslide, 70% of the votes, 54 votes in that poll. And also the poll with Chase Montgomery winning was 55%. I'm actually kind of surprised. I was thinking Bill Lester was likely going to win that one, but Chase Montgomery in the 18 truck, I guess. Bobby Hamilton Racing ends up winning that poll. But yeah, Ron Hornaday, 70%. Deborah Renshaw at 13%. Shigeki Hattori at 11%. And Terry Cook at 6%. So tomorrow night's poll in the chat during our NASCAR 05 race at Las Vegas will hold Ron Hornaday versus Chase Montgomery versus Ricky Craven. So those will be the final three, and then I'll start the Busch Series polls tomorrow on the channel in the community. Sorry, we had a little bit of a lag there. Accidentally almost hit end stream. Didn't want to do that quite yet, but that is what we're looking at, though, for tomorrow. But congrats to you guys voting in the chat. For those of you who voted for Dale Jr. all week in the 3 polls that he was in, Dale Jr. and Junior Nation speaks proudly on the channel. That's who I am going to be racing as in the Cup Series in 06. Still need to run the Busch in the Nextel Cup this season. Exactly. Still have to finish up the Busch and the Nextel Cup Series in this season. Chance to win the Busch Series Championship tomorrow night at Las Vegas. Pretty simple for Greg Biffle. Have to finish 36 or better to clinch the title. And then in the Bristol night race, it's going to be a little bit tougher. Biffle, even with the win and leading the most laps, going to need a little bit of help to beat Jeff Gordon and clinch the title in the third to last race of the year for the Cup Series, which will be Monday night next week. Considering I have some live race commentaries to do both Saturday and Sunday on the channel for the truck and the Cup Series. So our next Cup race on NASCAR 5 won't be until Monday night. And Greg Biffle has a 296-point lead, needs to be 312 points ahead of Gordon. So if I win the race and lead the most laps, Jeff Gordon leads at least one lap, finishes second. We'll gain 15 points on him, which will get me to 311. So it looks like if Jeff Gordon leads one lap, Biffle leads the most laps and wins the race, Gordon will have to finish third or worse for Biffle to clinch the title. So if Gordon finishes second, leads a lap, whether Biffle wins the race or not, Gordon will still have a shot. If Gordon does not lead a lap at all in the race, then we can lead the most laps, win the race, and clinch the title, even if Gordon finishes second. But if Gordon leads at least one lap and finishes second, then we'll have a shot, or we'll still have to run another race because we will not have clinched the title at that point. So going to need a little bit of help to clinch the title outside of just winning the race itself in the Bristol night race, but we'll see on Monday for the Cup Series side. But again, tomorrow night is the Busch race. Got to take it one race at a time, and we'll have a shot to clinch the title there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Like and subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. Again, keep an eye on the community tab tomorrow for Busch Series polls for who you want me to race as in the Busch Series, and then the Truck Series poll will be during the stream tomorrow night at Las Vegas, just like we had with tonight's final round for the Cup Series. That will be the final round for the Truck Series. And we'll get the first round going for the Busch Series. A lot of drivers to pick from there. A lot of Cup regulars, a lot of Busch regulars from that season. Be interesting to see who I race as there. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be the start. Las Vegas for the Busch Series, second to last race of the season.